Boom. Finlit Footsteps podcast, man. We back with another one. It's another week with the gang, man. I'm Mr. LaFleazy, make it look easy.
Look, Lobster.
And walks like a river. I have returned.
Y'all know what it is, man. He's back. He's back. Yeah. We didn't even address him missing last week, but y'all know how to go. Shit be going on, man. We here though. So yeah, we back again, man. It's EDC weekend here in Vegas, man. Crazy weekend, traffic crazy outside, but the weather is nice, you feel me? And we out here kicking it, man. Here to bring y'all some game, man. So, man, y'all know what we do, man. We Finlit Footsteps, so we gonna kick it off with the financials. I'm gonna pass it to Weeds, man.
Man, so you know we always talk about rising interest rates and how like things get affected negatively when we raise interest rates. So we seeing something called the S&P 500, like our biggest stock market index, composed of 500 super cool companies. It's been getting hit for 2 months, getting bled every single day.
Just real quick, when niggas generally speak about the stock market is up or down, they're probably referring to that index.
Yeah.
Like that is the kind of the metric
Facts.
for the overall stock market.
Most conversations about stocks, facts.
The S&P 500, the Standard & Poor's 500 is basically the 500 top or biggest, I get not top performing, but biggest
market by market cap.
By market cap, yeah, biggest companies in America by market cap. For sure. So you were saying.
So it's officially in a bear market. That means you've seen a 20% decline either in back-to-back quarters or for that's for like the total economy. Like we are officially in a recession if we see 2 quarters of a 10% decline or 1 quarter of a 20% decline. Then we're like automatically that's the specific definition of a recession or a bear market. Right. So the S&P, it's looking bad for the stocks right now. Like, and the crazy thing is like that could get worse. Like if all of this is happening off of a little bit of noise, like the rest of this year could look ugly, man.
And so what, in your opinion, what do you think behind it? Because I see in the media, they always try to spin it. Like I was reading something this morning talking about like it's earnings season and shit. So they was talking about Walmart and Target was releasing earnings and shit below.
They missed them. Yeah,
missed earnings by big margins though.
Inflation, like all their costs.
So they try to use excuses like that, like Walmart's earnings, Target's earnings drag the market down.
Yeah.
Like, what's really going on?
And see, I hate stuff like that. That's so manipulative. Like, who is Walmart to bring down an entire economy, an entire country? Like, Walmart is not. I thought that was Triple H, like bald head Triple H, like crazy. But yeah, like that's so capped. Like Walmart is not that systemically important to America that their missed earnings would destroy the standard of our stock market. Like Walmart is not that. Do they make a little bit of noise and their missed earnings felt somewhere? Yeah, somebody felt that lack of money, but that's not devastating the whole economy. Like what's really going on is you got to take a lot of that debt. I mean, a lot of that money that you made in profit. Like if you break down your balance sheet, you got your assets, liabilities, money you make and money you owe. When interest rates go up, that's the money you owe on your debt. A lot of these companies is strapped with debt. Walmart being one. The Fed bought up a lot of their debt at the start of COVID. I don't know how much more they bought, but I remember at the start of COVID, they had bought up a lot of their debt. So now the interest rate's going up. You used to pay 0% on all that debt. Let's say they bought $250 million worth of Walmart debt, but that was at 0% interest rate. Now it's at 1. What's 1% of 250 million? A million? Or 2 million? 2.5 million? Yeah, so now you owe $2.5 million in interest. You previously owed 0. You borrowed for free. Now niggas knocking on your door like, hey, the next time earnings come and you get that $10 million check, make sure you take $2.5 million out and send it to me. And you previously never had to do that. That's why they're missing earnings. And it's going to get worse because interest rate's going to go to 2, and then they're going to go to 3, and then you're going to owe 3% on that debt. And all these companies can't satisfy that debt.
Another thing I found interesting about that article I was reading, and they wording of it, you feel like I said, they tried to use like they missing earnings as a reason that the stock market was dragged down.
Yeah.
But then after that, they also started stating reasons why like Walmart missed earnings, and those are the reasons why everything is really coming. It's not that happening, and then Walmart missed earnings, and then it's like,
Right.
no, they said Walmart missed earnings because of inflation on gas prices for their as far as their distribution network. They don't have enough workers, so they struggling to meet demand in certain areas. All shit that's really like, you feel me, like real reasons that show the economy is not what the economy should be. You feel me? But I don't know, it's just the way they be working shit, man. You gotta really know what's really going on so you could get through all the bullshit, man.
That's why I don't be tuned into the numbers. Like, I went through that phase. How Jew always knows where the VIX is and stuff like that.
Right.
I used to be in tune with that, and then I realized it's noise. None of that matters. If I know what decimal a certain chart is at, does that mean I know anything about the health or the future or the current state of our economy? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And so once I realized that, I realized that was just noise. The stock market is supposed to go up every single day. So I don't care that it goes up every single day. When it goes down, I care, because now I want to know why. And you don't get those numbers, you don't get that explanation from just looking at those little tick marks. It's good to know, but I hate that it's not an end all be all, because it's so misleading. Like, we are really to see our biggest indice like getting hit like this. Like, that's not cool. But people only care if those numbers go up.
Yeah, facts. That's what it is, man. So yeah, that shit is tanking right now, man. It's not looking good. And people, you know, so-called experts are saying they got more room to go. You feel me? But yeah, it's just getting started. So yeah, it's more room to go. Like, shit ain't about to just turn around out of the blue. But yeah, so that's interesting, man. It's going down. It's starting to go down, man. But also on the business tip, I guess I like to look at like businesses, and we always talk about like different like acquisitions, maybe mergers and shit like that been going on.
Mm-hmm.
But locally, I seen last week that the Cosmopolitan Hotel sold to the MGM conglomerate. You feel me? And the Cosmopolitan was owned by the Marriott, under the Marriott umbrella, but Marriott is owned by Blackstone. You feel me? So basically, Blackstone sold Cosmo to the MGM. You feel me?
That's crazy.
For $1.7 billion, $1.625 billion to be exact. Yeah, drop the bag. They dropped the bag.
That's pennies. Like, that's crazy how that's such a gigantic number, but to somebody in the world, that is pennies. Like,
right.
That is like literally couch money to Blackstone.
I don't know how much money like casinos and shit make. How long do you think it takes to recoup that?
$1 billion?
From that particular property, not from all of their assets.
Oh, I was about to say, Fox 5, they regularly report casinos. They hit like record number earnings, I think like 2 months out of this year.
Yeah.
Like, they outdid their all-time earnings in multiple months. So these niggas are obviously...
The economy just opened back to
they
already all the mandates and shit,
cash.
so everybody flooding to Vegas.
On one property though, it might take a year and a half. If casinos are doing multiple months of record sales or record profits in the same year, that in the first half of the same year, that's crazy. That leaves somebody on average, let's say they didn't have a hot 5 months out of the year or a hot 2 months.
Right.
Well, if you had a decent couple of months, it should take you at least a year then. You remember, like, all right, like, they got hot, so it took them a couple months. You're not hot. Well, it should take you a year.
That's not long.
That's a great investment.
That's a great ROI. Yeah.
You done made $1 billion plus back in a year.
That's a great ROI. You make that back in a year. Like, it's like this damn near like you never happened. Like, that's just being like that's like nothing ever happened. Like, you got your money right back a year. That's amazing.
Low key, I wouldn't be shocked if it was less than that. Because if you think about, like,
they all at capacity,
these are $100 billion companies, like,
yeah. And it's still all the shit that we already got in Vegas, and it's more like you said, it's more and more shit coming. We have the drag, we have this, that, like,
and casinos are gonna eat off of that.
Facts, yeah, hotels been packed out, been booked, and then all year long. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt it if they made that back quick. Cause that's really, I don't know if that's, I don't even think that's a lot. 1.7 billion for the Cosmo, like that sound like
that sounds like a finesse.
Like them like Blackstone was trying to get rid of it or something like.
And people have been using Vegas as like a test run once like we lifted the mask mandate and restrictions started getting lighter, people are like, I'm not gonna go out the country just yet. I'm gonna go to Vegas,
right,
and go on vacation there, and then maybe next year or in a couple months I'll go to Cabo or something like that.
Because it's still more restrictive trying to get into other countries as opposed to like moving around within the U.S. You feel me? And we just the governor. I mean, it's more local shit, but the governor just officially ended like the state of emergency. You feel me? The COVID state of emergency. So yeah, I guess we officially free and clear. Are we officially out of the pandemic? This is the first time I'll say this is the first time I went like multiple days, maybe even a whole week without even hearing the word COVID.
Yep.
I'll say that.
That's a fact.
I got tested a couple days ago, so I can't say that.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like on the news and shit, like like it was constant every day. Oh, this many cases, this many COVID, this COVID, that. It was ridiculous.
The news ain't talking about it. Instagram ain't. That no algorithm is talking about it.
Right. Yeah, man. But shit. What else y'all want to get into, man?
Did y'all hear about you got something?
No.
I was gonna bring up Elon Musk. Have y'all heard about him? Two things. So they said that Twitter deal looking like it's gonna go through. They, as of now, I said could still unravel at any moment, but as of right now, Twitter told all of their employees they looking at this deal like it's going through.
Yeah.
So brace for that. Aside from that, though, my man's in some hot water. You feel me? Like, well, I guess it's over, so he ain't really in no hot water. But it hit the news recently, so
some shit came.
Yeah, the media hot water, but he ain't literally. It's over. He ain't facing nothing.
Elon hate.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently, man, some foul play was going on Mile High. He was on the jet.
Right, trying to join that Mile High.
Living it up, yeah. They said he paid $250K to get out of that.
He just to keep quiet, like
yeah. Hey.
I'm surprised it ain't already an NDA signed before as a billionaire. You sign the NDA is signed before you get on my plane.
Facts.
You feel me? Especially she was a masseuse. Like you here to get massages. He was getting a massage. She claimed he flashed whatever and told her whatever. You feel me? But especially if you a masseuse, you're not getting on this plane without signing an NDA.
Hey.
That nigga Elon is hilarious. That nigga talking about describe my it's like any scars. It's noticeable.
I feel him though. Like, prove it. Like you paid
way to combat the.
Yeah. But you already paid that bag, Elon. Like,
right, but that's just on some keep quiet. I don't feel like that necessarily mean you guilty.
Yeah.
You couldn't spell on my name. Like, shut up. Like, relax. Like, now I can deal with the media, the aftermath of that, but you're not about to keep on like speaking on me like that, speaking on my name. Like, we're not gonna keep on doing that. $250K, that's nothing. You talking about pocket change? That's nothing. That's nothing. He had that in his wallet. You feel me? He gave her that in cash, so she got off the flight. Shit. For as we know, shit. Yeah, that shit was interesting. Man. They got a lot going on, man. A lot on his plate. But as far as the Twitter shit, though, he's still not happy. I was reading it yesterday. Like, I think originally it was like they told him probably like 5% or less than 5% of the people was like what accounts was bots or whatever.
Yeah.
But he was like, well, it's looking like really it's like 20%. But he like, as long as I know, I can like know the number. Like, they not telling me. They still sticking to their 5%. They not really telling me. But from I guess the investigation that he did on his own, he came to a number like it's looking like it's 20%. But you feel me? Which is more than you expected when you initially made the deal. But he was like, at least I know. Like I know what I'm actually getting type shit. I know what to tell investors or whatever type shit. So you know what you're getting. You know what comes with it now. So we'll see how that goes. I know he don't want to pay that $1 billion. For backing out, I know he didn't want to pay that and walk away with nothing. Now I'm a billion in the hole because I tried to
play. Right. Play.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But what else you got? Anything else on the business tip, financial tip?
Check my pilot. So last week we talked about this company called Saudi Aramco. Have you ever heard of them? Like just casually though. So they are the largest oil producer, and they also just in general one of the biggest companies in the world, and they hella powerful. So last week we talked about how they just reported they greatest quarter in profits ever, and obviously like they try to make it seem like wow, like business is just going great. Well, duh, gas prices are going up, so duh, y'all gonna make world record amounts of money because gas ain't ever costed this much ever in the history of Earth. So like, duh, you feel me? Like I hate like how he just talked about how they like to be misleading with their articles and stuff. It's like this is another classic example. Like y'all not just doing great business, y'all not reinventing how to sell oil. You're just charging more, like you know.
Right.
But now they talking about so they a private company, they owned by the Saudis. So now they talking about listing part of one of their largest. They, you know, so at the top, that's Saudi Aramco. They got 50 different companies under them that do all this different oil selling. They talking about putting one of those largest companies on a stock exchange in America. So that's super cool because that's allowing a lot of potential new investors to get in on a company. The downside is that it's probably going to be super duper expensive. So that'll cut off a lot of potential buyers, but it at least open it up. That is something that's
So
cool.
as the U.S., I mean, I'm assuming since they trying to be allowing them on the New York Stock Exchange, I'm assuming that we in good standing with them. Like
Right now, yeah,
it seems like we go back and forth. Like sometimes we be cool, sometimes we not.
We historically are always cool with the Saudis.
We have disputes.
And no, definitely. I'm saying from start to now, there's been a longer period of time we was cool with them than we wasn't. From if we went back the last 100 years, there was more. Like if we went back the last 100 years with Iran, we've been beefing with Iran pretty much since that period of time.
Right.
Like you know what I'm saying. But with the Saudis, it ain't been beef for that long. We was cool with them, and then in the 70s. So I don't really know too much about Israel and like why there's such a American interest in Israel. Do y'all know anything
Right
about
now,
that?
like what's going on?
Ever. Because there was something called the Yom Kippur Wars. That war was in the early 1970s, and it was with a bunch of Middle Eastern countries. It was with some African countries. It was with Israel and
I believe it's pronounced Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur. That's what it was. I was misspelling in my head. But yeah, that war, America sided with Israel in that war when they should have just minded their business because this ain't our turf. The Saudis told America like, dog, mind your business. We got whatever come out of this. America like, no. So Saudi Aramco like, okay, gas prices go up. And literally in that instance, strictly because we did not mind our business, the next 10 years in America were hell because gas prices went up. Gas prices tripled from 1970 to 1980 exclusively because America wasn't minding their business in that war. That's why I was asking if y'all knew about the interest we had with Israel, because why would America risk its entire economy for
That country.
that? You know, and the Saudis, like I said, so at the point, we and the Saudis was cool. So the Saudis like, dog, relax. Like, what are you doing? Mind your business. We like, nah. We got ties over here. And the Saudis like, all right. Whoop. You know, so then once we went back to minding our business, we got cool with the Saudis again. That was after 1973. That's how we have the petrodollar. The petrodollar, just because of this same company, that's how powerful this company is. They gave us the global power that we have. They gave us the ability to every piece of oil that gets sold at any point in time on earth will be sold in US dollars. They are the ones who said, we will approve of that. America didn't say, this is what we're going to do. The Saudis said, we will allow you to do that. So that's how powerful this company is. Now, I like talking about them because you never hear about them. We hear about Apple and Amazon, but like this company single-handedly ruined America for 10 years, single-handedly fixed America, single-handedly gave it the biggest trump card a country could have on earth. Like the most valuable commodity on earth can only be bought in your currency. That means everybody else on earth will do whatever they can to get your currency. They will give you all of their gold. They will sign whatever stupid deal they need to, whatever interest rate. They will take all of your management, all of your senators can come work here. We'll open up our banks to you. You can buy up all of our real estate, all of this different shit, just to give us those US dollars. That is crazy. Like, why would you give us that type of trump card? But that just shows the buddy-buddy relationship that's there. But then it looked like that ain't so much partnership, and it's more so a hierarchy in my eyes. Like, part of me feels like it on the outside it looked like a partnership, but then it's like, what if the Saudis really are the big brother? And that's why, like I said, they allow that. They control every piece of oil on earth. Why isn't it bought in their currency? It's bought in ours. That's interesting.
I mean, if they were the big brother, then maybe, then they may be, you feel me, if they really truly was a big brother, got us in a little chokehold,
Yeah.
whatever, then we wouldn't even have thought about fucking with Israel then, right?
I'm wondering. That's why I was asking, what's the ties in Israel that you would even risk? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, why would you even risk that? Literally, 10 years. The unemployment, we always talk about how we had to ration gas. Like, that's how bad it got. It wasn't even that, like, it was a financial crisis. It was like, look how bad the 70s was, and we never talk about that. Like, our parents lived in, at that point, what was the worst decade in American history. And we never talk about why. Why was that true? The show Good Times took place during that. Nobody ever talks about life was actively deteriorating for everybody on earth. White, black, Mexican, Asian. Like, the 70s was really, 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 really bad. Because of these niggas. Like, hey, that's so crazy to me.
You know, the politics get deep.
Man, what's in Israel?
Deep, man. You gotta move strategically out here, man.
That's crazy. Yeah, them stories to tell though. That's crazy. But we don't talk about that.
I do got one more thing, and since we speaking about oil, I just thought about this. I seen Russia cut off the supply of oil or energy oil to Sweden because have you seen what's going on with Sweden and Finland trying to join NATO, like applying for NATO, and even though they've had a policy of military neutrality for the last however many decades,
yeah.
You feel me? Like Sweden and Finland, they're known for being like out of shit, like
yeah.
we just doing us. But they are like scrambling down there to join NATO right now because their leaders are saying like the state of affairs in Europe and that part of the country is getting to a boiling point. You see me? Like they no longer feel like safe being neutral. Like they want that protection. You feel me? So yeah, they trying to get into NATO. What you think about that? Like, man, y'all come running to us. You feel me? Like I respect the neutrality. But I guess if you gonna be neutral, be neutral. But now you go. Like, do you accept it with open arms after you being on to yourself for however long you been self-sustaining? Now you come running to us.
One thing I always rocked with, so I always hate saying this because I want to seem like I support him. I'm anti-Trump forever. He was right about a couple things. One of those things was NATO. He felt like everybody can be a NATO, but pay your fair share. If we are the largest contributor and the math ain't mathing, we paying all this money for your protection, I got a problem with that. You need to pay more and you need to pay more, and I'm gonna pay less, the difference, because I'm protecting y'all ass. Who got the largest military? Us. Who got all these nuclear weapons? Us. So you gonna pay up. He was right about that. I'm gonna keep it real. Now, the way he said it and the way he went about it and the way he talked to other leaders, he was wrong in, and that's where he's a dickhead, because that didn't work. You know, like he disbanded alliances that were in place for 50 years for a reason. So I don't understand that part, but I understood his sentiment. Like, yeah, y'all need to pull y'all own weight. He was right. I think
like they have something to offer. I feel like.
Yeah, it is. So like,
I don't know much about Finland, but Sweden.
Okay, so to specifically bring up Sweden, that's interesting that Sweden would even go that route. The reason being is from everything I have ever read about anything regarding banking, finance, Sweden is a safe haven.
Yeah, that's where
don't nothing bad happen in Sweden for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
It is because they said ain't nothing happening in Sweden. Not because we're just nice and we not finna. No. Those shot callers up there said this. Have you ever heard of the Basel Accords? Or it's called the Basel, but I always read it's BASEL. No, the Basel Accords, there's a part 1, 2, 3, and 4. If y'all ever Google this, the reason the whole world runs the way it runs from a anything that exists in the world, we already know it's hella different shit, it's hella different industries, all of that shit. It all tie back into money and banking. That's why I fuck with that shit. It all tie back into this. The Basel Accords will prove this. Every industry that exists is funded by banking and the creation of credit. The Basel Accords was based in Sweden. These niggas created this shit and put it out into the world for other niggas to copy. Our banks copy it. If y'all read, it is 100% not conspiracy. It is true. It's an actual thing. Like it's like how we talk about the Federal Reserve, how we talk about the U.S. Constitution. The Basel Accords are the same thing. Like it is a well-known thing that exists, but it's the structure of our banks and regulations and shit like that. But when it comes down to like liquidity requirements and interest rate decisions, the reason that the Fed randomly decides to raise interest rates is because of the Basel Accords. Basel Accords have the way they have instructed managerial departments of banks to respond. They have purposely caused crises by saying, hey, when this happens, act this way. And then they act that way, and then the economy blows up. It's actually kind of crazy, but I had to say, it being based in Sweden meant that there was protection in Sweden. That's why you don't really hear no financial crises going on in Sweden. You don't really hear about no real estate crises, no banking crises, no government crises. You don't hear about them excessive debt.
If shit go down in Sweden, it's bad for everybody.
That type of shit.
Because you feel me, Americans were a lot of their money where Sweden.
Yeah, gold. You feel me? Yeah. So that's crazy that I didn't think to hear you bring up Sweden. That's Finland. I don't know. Like I don't know much about Sweden, but I mean Finland. But Sweden, the fact that, like I said, for years I've always just heard about. Even in books, they get talked about like there's a protective layer over Sweden, and the world knows it. That's crazy to hear them speak up. Like, all right,
some shit like
we need to join NATO. Like, yeah, that's crazy.
But I mean, clearly they didn't say specifically, but clearly they talk about Russia and what they got going on.
Definitely.
Which is why Russia cut their gas supply, cut the energy supply. Like they not sending nothing to Sweden, but it's just interesting. Like it speaks volumes to what's going on. I mean, that's out of the world. You feel me? Like how worried niggas really are about Putin and Russia, what they got going on. Like he moving, he making shit move.
Facts. It's how quick them wars start. Like I remember one thing I always loved about revisiting history post high school. You understand it on a way different level. Like when we was in high school, they didn't tell us how World War I started. It was kind of just like World War I happened and a lot of people died and then it was over. And then a couple years later Hitler came and then there was another war and everybody died again. And then it was over. You know, like they never really talk about like this decision led to that. And so like seeing it in real time now, I learned years ago that the original name for the world wars was called the European Wars. They weren't called the World Wars until Americans started writing about them. It was called the European War, and then the Second European War. And the reason being is because quite literally everybody in the war was European and American. China was in World War II, but like everybody else was pretty much a European country. And to see like it started from me and you had a treaty, but then me and you had a treaty. How we talked about Japan and Russia and China, like it was like we was all cool at a point, but my homie was getting invaded by my other homie, and I had the obligation to protect both, so I didn't protect nobody. So now them niggas mad at me. So they gonna kill each other, and whoever win gonna look at me like, nigga, you next. And now it's war, because I'm not finna know this and willingly die. So now I gotta try to kill both of y'all. Now we're all at war. And that's how World War I started, so effortlessly. Like there was like, I don't know if it was King Edward or King George. He died. He was like Barack Obama. He was holding their day for it. He was king there, king of England or something like that. Now he was white, but they just rock. You know how he was a young dude and everybody loved him. That he had that aura about him that the whole world would gravitate to, like Obama, or like a JFK type.
Yeah.
He was like that, and he died. I think he died in like 1908 or 1910. When I reading about World War I, everybody felt like that was the first big domino to where niggas knew this was gonna be war, because he was assassinated. Right. So they was like, okay, this finna get crazy. That's what led to August of 1914, the Franz Ferdinand nigga. He was like the Archduke of like Austria, and he got killed by a Serbian.
Mm-hmm.
World War I started that day. Like when he died in the middle of the street, militias lined up and started clapping niggas right there.
Yeah.
So that's where everybody said World War I literally started right then and there. But the reason was because the king died. Like he didn't just kill Franz Ferdinand for no reason. My country got beef with your country from when King Edward died. So we on your ass for that. Yeah. And so that's why people say, I don't know if his name might have been King George. I don't remember, but one of them, yeah, he was like King George III or something like that. One of them, he died and they got revenge and it unfolded like that. So when you see it's like, we never seen war in real time. Like people getting ready for war. We seen Americans go to other countries and all that. But seeing it be military time, like seeing, all right, it's really moving different. Like this is honestly scary because like when you read it, it's like, damn, this was such irrationality. You know, like these little decisions led the whole world to war, and now you got this nigga invading the country, killing everybody, and everybody else scrambling because they don't know how to move. Like it's like these tiny little decisions could have such catastrophic consequences. Like one tilt of the ping pong ball, you know, it's like it dropped in one of these different slots, a dire consequence comes out, and that watching that ping pong ball, just like where is it gonna drop? Is it gonna drop in a safe spot or not? That's scary.
On a random side note, like how stupid was Ferdinand? Like imagine Putin just decided to come take a stroll down the street in the Ukraine or in America even or anywhere. Like
that's true.
Like
I never thought about
down
that.
The street, like nigga, no.
You know it's Ox City down here. He was in a carriage with his wife. They clapped both of their ass. Yeah. Him and his wife got murdered in the middle of the street. Broad daylight. I was gonna say they probably shot the horse by a 17-year-old. He was a 17-year-old Serbian kid. Pulled up on him and spat. I don't know if they shot the horse. I was just, hey, you mad enough? Hey.
Real fucking mud.
That's probably why they don't teach us this stuff in high school, or like why it's not really in history books, and we have to figure out about it later because we're all fighting over bullshit. So like, why would you join the military if you know you're fighting over bullshit? Yeah. Like that's the point of propaganda. It's like, all right, we gotta find a reason for you to join the military. This has to be part of your pride. This has to be patriotism for you.
And that's why a lot of wars, like everywhere, I want to say everywhere, but damn, a lot of them, like just like you said, when we go to war, it's always people like protesting that shit, like Forrest Gump. You remember Forrest Gump? Like niggas was not anti-war, like motherfuckers. Like we not going over there, we not with none of that. Like we on some peaceful shit, like
getting killed. Remember we learned about that? They got some college kids got smoked behind.
Oh yeah,
protests went wrong.
Yeah, protesting. Yep, I remember this shit. Muhammad Ali. You feel me? They call you a draft dodger, but really you standing on your shit. Like what the fuck? I'm not going to fight the white man. I'm not going over there to fight them people that ain't do nothing to me.
Facts.
Y'all oppressing me right here. You feel me?
He was right.
But, yeah.
He said, they don't call me nigga.
Hey,
he was right.
He was right. Let's talk about it, man. But yeah, so that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
I mean, while we're on international affairs, how do y'all feel about us providing $4 billion of aid to the Ukraine?
Shit, you answer that first? I'll go last.
I mean, y'all probably know what I'm gonna say. Like,
get it off.
Where we get that money from?
We made. Start the printers. Ukraine's in trouble.
I was just $4 million made.
Man. And you know what's crazy though? Like, again, this is now the third example of us going back to what Darius said, how they just like to play and be misleading with their words. Why is it that every time we heard about this is Biden and his administration are debating, they're figuring out how they can assist Ukraine? No, you're not. You opened up your Apple iPad and went 4 0 0 0 however many zeros. Enter, send,
transfer,
and it was done. Right, and it was done.
Still won't let the niggas in the NATO though.
Facts, right. All of that, but ain't finna really assist them. And I'm for them not letting them into NATO because then America has the obligation to jump into war. Yeah. So like I'm not. I wish America would be more overt because in 2014 when Ukraine, pardon me, Ukraine has been invaded by Putin like 2 or 3 times. The last time was in 2014 where he dropped bombs on them. And I didn't know this until this invasion. The reason why Ukraine is expecting so much help from America is because that's what they did last time. Last time America gave them like $100 billion. They sent troops. You can Google this. In 2014, we sent troops there. We gave them hella ammo, hella equipment, hella money, hella food, planes. I don't know how many planes we sent them, but we sent hella stuff over there. So then it made total sense why, because at first I'm like, why Ukraine so needy? Like y'all better defend y'all country. You feel me? Like this ain't us like that. Because historically Ukraine and Russia is the same land. Like it is the same land. And so I get why Putin like, yo, y'all not Ukrainian, y'all Russian. Like, but he's going about it wrong. But I understand his mindset historically. Like when he was a little boy, we were one. Now I'm running this, we finna be one again. I'm not saying he right. I totally understand that way of thinking though. But I was looking at Ukraine like, yeah, y'all better what you gonna do? He pressing. But now it makes total sense. America gave y'all unrolled the red carpet for them the last time he bombed us. So now he bombing us again. Y'all have created precedent to where we expect that type of help. Cause this nigga not playing no more. You feel me? Like he bombed us in 2014. He waited, 7-8 years? And now he coming harder. Like I expect more help. At the very least, I expect that same amount of help. And now that makes total sense because now it don't really seem like they begging. It's like, dog, y'all said y'all got us because last time he was tripping, y'all had us. So y'all should have us now. So now I look at Ukraine a little different. I kind of feel bad for him. Like, damn, like
they depend on us.
We hanging y'all out to dry, and we trying to be nice about it.
Y'all was, like you said, y'all was once Soviet Union, like y'all was Russia. So I get it. You feel me? It's like if you got a girl or your baby mom or something, and she go get with a new dude, and now you beefing with the dude, like, no, that's still my girl, you feel me? But now dude talking about, well, now I'm Crip, now I'm trying to be Crip,
right?
So now he beefing with me, you beefing with the whole Crip, you feel me? Crip. So now Crip's like, man, we fuck with you,
right?
You feel me? But you ain't put in no
right.
Like you ain't him, you feel me? You ain't from the hood.
Right. You can't call that shot.
Right, you feel me? And now you out there fighting by yourself.
Right. Look at stupid.
Now you get mollywopped, you feel me? That's how it go though, that's how it go.
Yeah. That part crazy, but I hate that $4 billion, it's like that money is gonna come out of somewhere.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'm mad about that, but that's not even really what I'm mad about. The part that I'm really mad about is that the way that money just effortlessly popped up and we will pay for that at some point. Why is it that niggas continue to act like there is no way in hell we can afford anything else?
Why we can't drop $4 billion on education?
Nothing.
On nothing.
Hey, why you just gonna have to? You want more money? You're gonna have to work really, really hard and go figure out a job that's gonna pay you $10 million. That's the only way you're gonna be able to take care of yourself and do all the things you want to do because we can't provide basic shit. We just talking about Sweden. Sweden give fucking, they paying for niggas. College, they pay for niggas. Healthcare, this is a regular thing in Europe and in Australia. Niggas' entire college is paid for. If girl, if she get pregnant, she maternity leave her whole pregnancy, like the start to finish.
Right.
I don't even know what's up after the baby, like how long she get after the baby born. I'm sure they gonna get money on top of that,
right.
But the fact that you get paid maternity leave, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, places like Canada with free healthcare,
free,
all types of shit,
anything, free. That is other people. Oh, go ahead.
No, finish your point.
I was gonna say on Instagram, I've read things people can't believe America operates the way it does. Like I hear certain forums like they say Americans run things differently, and it's crazy to read that because we are Americans, so our life is normal. But yeah, to them it's like, how are y'all the #1 country in the world and y'all operate ass backwards? And we would be like, y'all a fucking foreign country. Because we look at every foreign country as below us. So it's like, we're American. You can't tell us shit. Right. But really, they can. They are much better run than us. And I think that dynamic is crazy.
I think like America was kind of built on the philosophy of like pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, right? So, I mean, I guess that could have something to do with it, like, with why we have the mentality of, like, you said, you just gotta go find you a job that's gonna pay you, or gain you a skill that's gonna pay you whatever you think you wanna make or whatever, you feel me? So,
eat what you kill.
Right. Yeah.
But do y'all think we should go back to that mentality? Because part of me feels like us deviating from that has been our downfall in regards to Medicare, in regards to Social Security. Social Security, I just learned this. Social Security was first created in like Germany, I think, in like the 1700s, and it was like a socialist thing. Like they were trying to be like all for one type thing, and it ended up fucking them up because it fucked up the market. Like it made the price high. When you made everybody get it, niggas went like, no, everybody shouldn't have it. So they raised the price hella high to make sure everybody couldn't get it. America adopted the Social Security in the same way. They just operated a little different, but the mindset was, if we take from everybody, then later we can benefit everybody. And that's not the same thing as eat what you kill. That's not the same thing as fend for yourself. That's taken from everybody and trying to provide for everybody, which can never be done on any level ever. But when you try to do that, and then you've been doing that since the 30s, that Social Security ran out of money in like 1970, and then they signed a new agreement to basically print more money, but they lied. Oh, we're gonna figure out how we can go get more money to fund Social Security and Medicare. They print more money, and they signed on the dotted line. And now last year they talked about, oh, we could run out of money in the next 5 years. Like that mindset is what is holding us back. The fact that we have a Social Security or Medicare, we didn't have those things, you wouldn't be taking that money out of people's paychecks, so they'd have more money available to them. And then because companies at the top wouldn't be trying to compete for a rare service, they wouldn't keep raising their prices. If there was no Medicare, there was no Medicaid, and all of these healthcare programs, if we stripped them all of that all for one, like us all inclusive thing, if we stripped all of that, everybody would be forced to raise their prices, because now you'd be forced to choose, do I have 0 customers, or do I simply lower my prices and get all the customers? Right. And nobody seems to grasp that. People keep only feeling like, well, we're just gonna keep raising prices. The more people you try to get involved, the higher we're gonna raise prices. That's why pills go up in cost every day, because government keeps passing new programs to try to get more people. You pass a new program trying to get people houses, guess what? Houses will go up in price. Now we seeing world record housing prices. And what happened the last time we saw world record housing prices? We saw a worldwide crash. And people don't understand that. Stop coming up with new shit to get everybody involved. We talked about Obama with the very first thing he did when he got the president was the bailout with the cars. It was called cash for clunkers. He was paying niggas 3 bands to go buy piece of shit cars off of salvage lots, cars that didn't even work. This happened. This is how much, not corruption, but this is how much is unfairness. They obviously gave him billions of dollars, helped him get elected, and he is telling Americans in the heart of a financial crisis, when they just lost their jobs, they just lost their house, they are strapped with debt. Obama told your mama and your daddy and your grandparents, apply. I'm gonna give you $1,500 and I want you to go buy a car that doesn't work. Right. That factually happened in 2009. That is ridiculous. When you just lost your house, your job, you are people committing suicide in mass, and you're trying to sell me a car that doesn't work. That all-inclusive mentality did what? It caused cars to go up in price. and it solved nothing. It prolonged the crisis.
Yeah.
Like what did it solve? Niggas was still in debt.
Like, what is that relevant?
Yeah, like literally, like what was that for? What did that do but make things worse? And people just never understand that every time the government come up with something, it's because they think it'll benefit everybody. But as long as you have that mindset, you'll benefit almost nobody. Like, they just don't get it. I don't understand.
That shit makes no sense.
Man, it's the way we live in, man.
Niggas sold us
Like,
hard.
I like to
It worked.
just sit in,
That really happened.
sit in on some of these meetings and be like, what the fuck is this gonna do? Like,
So many other things we could do with that.
Cash for clunkers. That was a real thing. That's an actual law.
Imagine if they were like, hey, if you work in this specific trade, I'll pay you this amount of money for 3 days out of a week to go to a local high school and teach, or like teach your trade to them high school kids. That way, kids want to be dropping out of high school. They want to say school's bullshit all the time.
Right.
Like, education would become more important, and then you revamp on that trade, because once they graduate, they'll be like, all right, I'm fuck around, be a plumber. I'm gonna work in construction. I'm gonna do something.
Right.
I'm gonna become a doctor. All that shit. Like,
Right. Yeah.
nah.
Yeah. So this is America, man. This is what goes on, man.
Like, this is why people are like, this is why there's not a lot of pride in America. It's like, it's one thing if you just oppressing us, but if you just like feeding us bullshit at the same time, it's like, I can't be proud of this shit.
Yeah. Like, what is there to be proud of? Like, everything that we used to be proud of, we don't do no more.
Even like freedom of speech,
At
like
all,
you can't
yeah.
even really talk freely.
Yeah.
Like, you can't
Right.
just speak your mind freely. You always gotta have anxiety of,
Losing our way. The terms that we always talk about on this podcast is two terms, well, that I always think about in my head. One is Dutch disease. I definitely think America is experiencing that, where we had our routine and it worked. It got us to the top of that mountain, and we lost our way, and now we're about to fall off the mountain. That's what happened with the Dutch. They was the first niggas to be like up on the world post Africa. Once Africa went down, they was the first ones to kind of carry the torch on. But we know who was the first. The boys from the A.
Right.
That's real. But the Portuguese, the Dutch, they was the first ones to have like a reserve currency where everybody in the world is using this, and it's not gold. Like, it's our actual currency with our face on it. So they lost their way, and everybody died, and they got broke again. But then the second one is the term, it's called democratic backsliding. If y'all ever heard of that term, read it out. It's crazy where it breaks down. Remember when I was telling you, bro, hearing the word mandate was so crazy, because one of the main things of democratic backsliding is the government starts mandating things, and they're telling people, oh, the people voted for this. And it's like, no, we didn't. You voted for this and told us to accept it in the form of a mandate. When the government starts approaching that and starts spending money uncontrollably, is that we are backsliding from our democracy. And that is crazy to me, because it's the stuff that we are experiencing in real time. You feel me? It's cool to read about it, but like when you watch a country, let alone your country, that's crazy. His son went to Finlit Prep, Nick Johnson.
That's his name or his son's name?
The son's name is Nick Johnson. He got drafted. He played for the Rockets. He played for the Pistons. He went to Arizona. Went to Finlit Prep though.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
Being done with America, man.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, bro. Like, it's our country, you feel me? Like, so going back to that, like, why do we have pride, or why should we have pride in being Americans? Like, I feel like, bro, I love being an American. I feel like I want to have so much care about that, because I like my country, you feel me? Like, I feel like everybody should be possessive of where they from, or go to a place where you feel like you could be possessive. If you feel like India is a dope ass country, go to India and be like, I love it here, I'm holding this down. You feel me? I feel like that about America. I feel like this us, but you don't give me reasons to feel like that, you know, like historically, now, in the future, you know, like, you ain't giving me nothing to be proud of. But part of me just feel like, man,
I can say I'm grateful to be an American.
For sure.
I don't know
That's
if
probably
pride is the word, because I know it could be a lot worse. Like, I could be sold into slavery in another country. I could be killed for even speaking out about my country in another country. But that's low key like Stockholm syndrome. Like, you shouldn't really have that mindset. You should just have pride about your country. Like, no, my country's the greatest. You run perfectly. You shouldn't be like, well, like you shouldn't drive a shitty. Well, if you have a shitty car, you won't be like, I mean, it gets me from point A to point B.
Right.
I could be walking right now, or I could have a more fuel efficient car that doesn't break down all the time, that doesn't need as much maintenance.
Right.
Like, you should have more of an abundance mindset about your country. Like, I want more people to come to my country, not like, all right, y'all need to stay out because it's getting expensive living here because everybody keeps coming here.
That's interesting.
Y'all taking all the jobs.
Yeah.
So, slight deviation away from that, but still on that point of immigration. If you run a country or you are in that circle of the decision makers that have to keep this thing running, at what point do you become concerned about immigration? Because I'm not saying that I think this way. I don't even know. Like, I'm actively thinking about it as you just said. Like, okay, stop coming here. Because I'm thinking that when we were at our best, everybody did want to come here.
I think we should say that.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
I think
Okay. We can say that one.
Let's say that one. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm gonna write that down because that's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's gonna spark. That's gonna let's say that.
That's an evergreen.
But yeah, so we're gonna put that on the back burner, put a pin in that, and come back to that. But y'all wanna move on or what?
Yeah. Is there any? I'm cool on the business. We can get into the ratchets or the interesting, thought-provoking
Business and
conversations.
bullshit.
Yeah,
You got it
I
all.
like that.
The business and bullshit.
Should write that down.
I got a couple of questions for y'all.
Yeah, I'll be about to say. Let me kick it off.
Alright, so 3 questions. What's your favorite animal?
Lion.
Dolphins.
Lion, dolphin. What's your second favorite animal?
Monkeys.
Dog.
Okay.
I hate dogs. You know that. I hate dogs. I think I'm scared. I don't hate dogs. I'm terrified of them. I'm fond of them, but I'm terrified.
And I'll answer while I'm asking as well. So my favorite animal is a jaguar. Second favorite animal is an eagle.
Okay.
And what is your view on darkness in general?
Darkness, like literal darkness, like
However you interpret it.
I feel like you gotta give me a bone.
yeah. I don't want to put myself in the corner because
I could take I'm like that's evergreen type shit. Like,
and then you flip it on me like, well.
When I say darkness, like what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Space.
Shout out to Nick the Barber, man. Read. You want to read out loud what the back of my shirt say? He say something about darkness. Shout out to Nick the Barber, man.
It says, invest in your haircut. It's the crown you never take off.
Okay.
Then it says, people view darkness as evil, but every night they go there to recharge, and it is not until they come into light that they are drained and must return to darkness.
That's what I feel like. Shout out to your TP, man.
That's interesting.
That sort of aligns with my view on darkness too. I think darkness is just as important as light.
Yeah, because without one, there is no one.
You don't know what light is until you're in darkness.
Right.
Vice versa.
Were those two questions correlated?
Well, all of them sort of correlate. Not really. It's kind of like a Rorschach test, per se. But the first question is how you view yourself. So your favorite animal is how you view yourself.
Okay.
The second question.
Hey, dolphins are intelligent. Niggas is lethal. They live long.
The second
Dolphins
one
is goats.
The second one is what you dolphins is goats. I mean, they're mammals, but the The second one is what you desire to be, and then the last one is how you view death. So
how you view death.
So the darkness question is how you view death. You said the second question was what?
Like what you desire to be.
So I desire to be a monkey.
And I desire to be a dog.
Dog ass. Hey, it's in our blood. But that's interesting. I never heard of that. I like.
And you
that.
said that's a what? What do you say it's called?
Like a Rorschach test.
What is that?
You know,
I've never heard
how
of it.
you've probably seen it in movies or whatever. They pull up like when you're with the therapist, they pull up like
a random blank ink spot.
Oh yeah.
And it's like how
What do you
interpret
see?
this? What do you see?
That's interesting. I never knew.
It'd be like a butterfly or a person.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. You seen the picture with like the two faces, and you either see it like two faces or like an hourglass.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Face or whatever it was, type shit, something like that. I actually fuck with shit like that too. Like
Yeah,
that.
that's
Like,
dope.
I fuck with shit like that. Y'all ever took an IQ test?
Mm-mm.
I think I took one online in like middle school or high school.
Really?
So yeah.
I would take
I would take one though. I might take one. You feel me? I don't know. I might take
I
one.
think
I don't know
they're
how accurate they
misleading
are.
though. Yeah. I remember reading about them. It's like not that anybody can pass, but it's not a pure intellect test. It's like how fast certain questions are answered.
Yeah, because
If you picked the wrong answer, was it the second best answer or was it the third best wrong answer? Like it get detailed like that to where it's not like that's not a measure of intellect. You know, it's a measure of swift thinking, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Algorithm of intellect.
Yeah, like it's a phase of it, like it's a part of it. It tells part of the story. Like Stephen A. said, he loved analytics, but he thinks that analytics are best paired with the eye test. He said if the analytics match up with the eye test, then you got a hit.
Yeah.
I feel that way. I feel like the IQ test it tell a part of the story, but that's not somebody's intellect.
Right.
Let them sit down and figure something out. If you
Well,
figure it out,
what
you're
is
smart.
the test of your intellect? The SAT or something like that?
None.
Like,
I don't think any of these. Yeah, because it's all bullshit test taking. Like you just
learn how to
test. Facts.
A lot of people like that, like just like testing anxiety. And
Yeah.
shit, like,
So I hate that. Like, yeah, ain't no true measure of a person's intellect. And that's the crazy thing about pass or fail is like, imagine how many kids is being told they failing when it's like, I'm not. Like,
Why you not about to sit here and tell
I
me
can't learn this way.
yeah. Or I can't learn this. I always talk about, I thought it was cool to be a person who was good at math, but what the fuck would you ever use any other for? I didn't really think about that when I cared about being good at math. I was just good at math. So I didn't think about none of this will ever be. Yeah, it was just in my brain. I wasn't trying to be good at math. I wasn't trying to use it. I just knew it. But when you become an adult, it's like, wait, calculus 3 didn't matter. AP trig didn't matter. Stats don't. None of this ever mattered, ever.
Right, and then unnecessary, high-ass, complicated-ass math class.
Yeah, like,
and
and so,
basics.
and imagine, I'm a person who passed. Somebody failed that and got told that they wasn't intelligent.
Yeah.
It's like, no, who the fuck learned this? Who? How many people on earth would know this?
Like,
Like,
some bullshit. Like,
yeah.
calculus was some bullshit.
Stupid.
Like, some bullshit.
and it's the most useless stuff on earth. It's cool for the people who need it. It's completely useful for that 5 people on earth. You feel me? The 5 smart people
So
on earth.
what,
who need that.
in hindsight or as an adult now, what do you think is the most important subject in school? Like, what would you tell Abby? Like this, like focus, like this class.
I want to
is
hear
what
y'all
happened.
answers to that too, because I just talked about this on Facebook. A bunch of people was talking about gas prices and inflation, and I thought that was cool because I'm like, I never see people my age or people just from where we from talk about these things. So I was like, I'm so glad to see all of y'all share these posts because y'all waking up, and I love that. And that brought me to this. So the fact that you're saying this, I had this exact same thought. Everybody on earth, I will always feel like, needs to be taught economics. The reason I feel like that is because I ran from it because I thought it was boring and stupid and it wasn't interesting, and it is boring. but it's not stupid and it's interesting when you find a passion of yours. I think the reason people should learn economics, if the elementary, middle school, that's where you need to learn the basics of words and stuff like that. Learn how to, there is a part of school that is necessary. You do need to learn repetition and structure and routine. You do need to have social studies and history and all that other shit. But by the time you get to high school, it should be about specialization. Specialization. I don't know if I said it wrong. Yeah. You need to find something that you like and then pair that with understanding the world.
I feel like that's pressure too, though, because a lot of people, even after you graduate high school, when you go into college and asking you what major you want to do, like a lot of people don't know.
But that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. My point is, put people in an environment to find out, though. I don't give a fuck if this 8th grader, if it's the summer and he hit in August and he like, I don't know what I want to specialize in. I'll be like, yo, come on. We finna go have a blast this school year. Right. We finna go do this. You gonna find something, nigga. By next June, I guarantee you approach sophomore year like, nigga, I can't wait to do this. Because now you're gonna learn, yep. And I think we lost our way with that. If the creation of summer break was specifically for kids to go find something to do. Google it. I don't know, I forgot the decade. It might have been in the 50s or the 60s. But kids went to school year round, and a lot of kids started ditching school because they wanted to go to work. So it was like, all right, we're going to give kids this period out of the school year where niggas was already, the reason that they picked the summer was because kids were already not at school. Everybody was ditching. So they was like, all right, niggas ain't here anyway, so we just gonna make summer vacation. Right. Go do whatever you want. That's how summer camps became a thing. So summer camps allow people to go discover, I like this. Boy Scout, I like doing this stuff. I like doing this. And that's how kids kind of discovered, I don't want to say likes, but that's how they discover what hobbies, that's how they discover what they like to do. We going fishing. I got good at fishing. I got good at this. I learned how to farm. I built cars every summer, things like that. And you became a mechanic when you became an adult. Right. I think we should go back to something like, I'm not saying in summer break, but just in terms of schools prioritizing a kid needing to be well versed, not just in books. Go make that kid have a fucking field trip every day, or have something at your school every day. Have them watch something. YouTube is free. Google is free. There's a million ways to expose kids to different things. And I think pairing that with economics, it allows you to do everything. I don't need to know, I think about everything we took. I didn't really need to know everything I learned in history. I didn't really need to know everything I learned in English. When we read what's that book where they was the Salem witch trials? Mm-hmm. What was that book called? I don't know what the book called. But you remember that? And we didn't need to know that. We didn't need to read The Giver. It was cool that we read The Giver in middle school, but we didn't need to. All of these, we didn't need chemistry. I took chemistry in 11th grade. I didn't need to take chemistry. I didn't need to take AP biology. They were cool, but I don't need these things. These things aren't going to matter in my day-to-day life. If I go get the average job, they not asking me about mitochondria. Right. They not asking me about ions. Right. They're gonna ask me about skills and about understanding. And the only thing that I can point to that would have taught me that is econ. Econ would have taught me the structure of the government. It would have taught me why money's coming out of my paycheck, why I get a paycheck, where it's coming from, who paying what, where does this come from, where does that come from, how do I get more, I feel like I want to start a business. Well, econ gonna teach me that, and I didn't need to go to college. Right. I didn't need to go get a business degree. Econ will teach you business. Right. You don't need to go to the top business school. You could take some free classes online. I think it gets to a point where you can specialize. There's a point where econ is boring as shit and it's full of stupid ass theorems and shit that don't nobody give a fuck about. Right. I have reached that point where I'm like, okay, that's the point of econ. I don't really want to go that far. I like that box of econ. That's for the people who want to be economists and want to work for statistic firms and shit like that. I don't want to do all that. That's boring to me. But that piece of information where it's teaching me why milk went up 5 cents from Monday to Friday, why interest rates affect if I could have a job next week. If people understood that, people would save their money. If you understood adjustable rate mortgages. Most people who lose their mortgage, it was on an adjustable rate. They didn't understand that their rent could go up in cost at any given moment, and they didn't factor that. They thought rent would stay this much forever, and in 2 years that shit reset and they fucked themselves. Or they refinanced and they was almost done paying their loan off and they refinanced for a smaller interest rate. They didn't understand that they were almost done. So do you finish paying off $20,000, or do you start back over a 15-year loan or a 30-year loan, and now you got to pay back a new $200,000 or a new $150,000 because you wasn't thinking. You just saw a smaller percentage number.
So let me slow you down because you're making a lot of points that I want to touch
on.
Oh
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you're making a lot of points in a quick rate of time. You feel me? But first of all, what you just saying about the adjustable rates, yeah, a lot of people do that shit because you feel me, just on paper when you first looking at it. And like I had to make this decision when I purchased my house, you feel me?
But you learn, ain't nothing wrong with it. I just want to say there's nothing wrong with it. People just don't know what they're doing. That's the point. Yeah, that's why I specified that, because I already know that. So to make that distinction, you are not the person who went smaller number. I'm gonna go with that one. That's
exactly the point I was about to say, because they see the smaller number when it comes to adjustable rate. Little do you know, it's adjustable. They can, as soon as you sign that paper, that rate can increase, you feel me, drastically. And it's no limit. It's not like when you sign that paper, it's a limit. It's not, it don't give you it's not range bound. It don't give you, this is the minimum, this is the maximum. That shit can go wherever the economy takes us, you feel me? And it's going up right now. And that's where we're going to start seeing a lot of problems getting into the housing and all of that. But that's for a different day, I suppose, you feel me? But that's just to the adjustable rate point. Like, get you that fixed rate where you know what your rate gonna be, regardless of what's going on in the world. That's what's about to fuck a lot of people, because people got them adjustable rates because they was lower than the fixed rate, but now they about to skyrocket, and they've already started to go up. You feel me? But to that point, a few other things you was talking about. First on some bullshit when you was talking about the summer break origin. I don't know. I might have been reading this wrong, or it might correlate, but I thought it came from like something to do in the old days where like kids would have to like help on the farm or something during the summertime.
Niggas wanted to work. That's what I said. So they did school, Right, exactly. So niggas was like, well, niggas already ain't at school.
Not even this, and your parents telling you like, you gotta work on this farm during these 3 months. We gotta harvest this shit we've been working on all year. You feel me? So, but that's one thing.
That's crazy.
But some other shit you was talking about, field trips. We start with that. You was talking about field trips, the importance of field trips in school. Like when we was going on field trips in school, my thoughts on it was just, I'm just happy we not in class. I'm happy we out and about doing whatever. But niggas didn't look at it like actually learning some shit about the world, how shit works in the world, or about jobs that you may or may not want to have. Like going to wherever. We went to Atlanta. We went to this place, that place. We went to all types of places. Like, that's a blessing, you feel me? Like in hindsight, that shit is a blessing. And speaking about Atlanta, we went to it's like a big ass, like what did they call it? Like a aquarium type shit. We went to out there.
We went to the Coca-Cola factory.
All type of shit.
We went to an aquarium.
We went to an aquarium out there. I remember for a fact. We went to an aquarium. That was part of that trip.
Oh, we did. It was like blue inside. We ate in there and everything. Yep, I totally remember that. It was literally like right next to where you were eating. Fish were floating past
around.
I remember
that. Walk through.
I thought that was out here. I thought I was a kid and did that out here.
The shark reef is like that. It's got something like that too, where you kind of walk.
Oh, that's why I didn't think about it. I was like, I thought I was a kid in Vegas.
But I'll say that to say, my little brother actually, shout out to Cameron. He's the first person I said, obviously plans to change or whatever. He was the first person I ever heard say they want to be a marine biologist. When I heard him say, I was like, what, nigga? Like a marine, like what? Like, you feel me? You get exposed to different shit. You go into the shark reef or whatever, petting stingrays and shit. Like that shit activates something in you to where you start realizing like, oh, it's other shit to do in the world other than what they tell me about. Oh, you got to be a doctor, lawyer, whatever. Like it's other shit to do in the world. So field trips definitely expose you to other shit where you can make them decisions on what you might want to do or classes you may want to take in life. You feel me? Finding, like you said, finding a direction in high school. I really fuck with that. I think that's big. Like your schools out here, like you got magnet programs and shit where you can kind of focus on a certain sector. You can focus on a certain field or whatever the case might be. So field trips is important. And then I said something just after the last podcast about starting school later. And I was like, well, shit, we'll be stupid as fuck though if we 18 and just starting school. But that kind of tied into what you were saying. Like school, we should have to go to school and whatever, learn the basics, like you said, read, writing, whatever. But the point you made about focusing on something specific in high school, like I fuck with that, like, and that leads to the point you were saying about economics and shit. Like I feel like people should have to learn economics, but I feel like you have to experience the real world first to understand the importance type shit. Like, and economics actually could be something that they force feed to everybody. Like, yes, they should.
Yeah.
But I feel like once you really live in the real world and you really understand and see shit going on, you see changes in prices, changes in job markets, housing markets, and all of that, then you really start like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So
go ahead. My fault.
yeah, just saying we should definitely stress economics when it comes to shit like that. But you saying what?
Yeah, piggybacking off what you just said, I was gonna say, yeah, if you force feed a high schooler that shit, because life is inevitable. School ain't no education inevitable. Everything gonna end. Whether you go to college, whether you drop out of high school, life gonna hit you at some point. Some point you gotta get off your ass. You're gonna have to do X, Y, Z. You're gonna have a kid, or you're gonna do something. You feel me? Where you become an adult. And I think if you were never ever exposed to certain ways of life, that's what economics is. It ain't something to be taught to people like regular school. I look at it like a way of life because it literally breaks down life. Life operates like this. Why? Economics breaks down there's an answer to every question you could possibly come up with in terms of why does that happen? Economics has an answer for that. And I think that when life knocked you on your ass as a brand new adult and you can fall back on that foundation of asking why. My mom used to always tell me, she never told me I was her favorite, but she expressed that sentiment because she felt like I always asked questions. She said, my girls...
What you got going on, son? I fuck with what you got
she would always tell me, my girls never asked me nothing. She said she would say, I don't think they feel like they know it all. They just don't really need me to figure things out. She felt like I did. I'm like, I realized how much my mom knew. And I'm like, how do you know? When I told you I was like a teenager when I found out my mom was about to be an electrician. She knows everything you could imagine about being an electrician and decided on the day that she was about to take her like a certification. She just decided against it. I was like, nah, it's not really for me. Right. But I've watched my mom rewire our house. She taught me everything I know about plumbing. Like she taught me how to be a man. You feel me? Like I literally did that, but that's what made me curious. Why do you know so many different things? And I'm a teenager. I'm like, damn. All right, so now I gotta do it. I'm learning. I'm all right. This, all right. That happened. All right, do this. I'm like, damn, are you gonna be like so?
And that go into the last one I had, like the fact that your mom had that knowledge and was able to teach you certain things specifically about plumbing, electrician shit, wiring shit. Like I was gonna say, like I feel like that's an advantage that fucking wealthy people have, rich people have, that they get to expose their children at a younger age to all types of shit in the world. They get to travel to see all different types of places. A lot of niggas never leave the hood. You feel me? They get to travel to all different types of places. You get to try different shit. Like it's only you in the hood. You gonna play football. You gonna play basketball. You feel me? Or
braid hair.
Or nail technician. You feel where you braid your hair for sure. But yeah, I feel like white people or rich people, my bad. Wealthy people get to expose their kids. Get to expose their kids. I'm trying to be PC, you feel me? But they get to expose their kids to shit, and that gives them an advantage outside of the other advantages they already got. But that gives you an advantage as far as seeing other shit in the world and deciding what you want to do. Like your dad or your mom, a real estate agent, like. Yeah, being an electrician is cool. Right, yeah, that's great. But you feel me, your parents is lawyers or whatever, like they can expose you to so much other shit, you feel me? So yeah, that was the last thing I had about with the spiel you was giving, you feel me? Like just exposure to shit. What you got over there, Nelly?
I looked up the definition of just economy in general, and the most basic definition is the careful management of available resources. And that's like just a basic life principle. That can help in self-identity. Like, what am I good at? What am I not good at? What resources do I have at my disposal that can help me get to the next level of life? Same thing with politics. Politics is the assumptions or principles relating to or inherent in a sphere, theory, or thing, especially when concerned with power and status in society. So it's not just like I hear people I hear a lot of people saying like, let's not get or like I don't really deal with politics. I don't really like politics like that. Well, there's politics in everything. There's politics in your family structure. There's economy in your family structure. So in order to just function as a human being, you gotta learn that shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm one of them niggas who be saying that I don't fuck with politics. You feel me? But you're right. Politics is in everything. Like
everything in high school, all the gossip and shit. That's politics.
That's facts.
That's politics.
Big facts.
Talking to people, getting cool with certain groups, getting cool with the teachers. Man, I knew one thing that really got me through high school was like how to negotiate with your teachers, or how to like sort of like manipulate your teachers a little bit. Like, hey, like I didn't do this homework, or I wasn't able to study for this test. Can I take it this next day?
Type shit.
All this type of shit. So that would teach you in life how to like wiggle through business decisions and shit.
Right.
In court, all that shit.
Yeah, that's a fact. Shout out to the teachers, man.
I think, speaking of that, I think teachers could help bridge that gap in terms of like making certain information receptive. I think, like I said, part of it is boring, but I read a bunch of textbooks that totally were boring. But when you piece together the information and reword it, I think, like how we just said, shout out to the teachers. I think teachers could do it would start with a teacher. It's not just about economics, it's how it gets brought up. And I think that would be a large contingency in terms of like the success of kids kind of receiving it and moving forward and kind of having those principles stand with them as adults. Like, how did they get this information? Because if it's in a way where it's boring and they don't get it, they can't apply those principles to their real life decision making ability, then they'll never understand it. But if you can say, okay, you usually make decisions like these, well, here are economic principles, make sure you're thoroughly taught them. Now, if you were to put economic principle A into this decision that you usually make, it would have that outcome for you. If you put that decision into this decision that you usually make, you'd have that much better outcome. Now pick. And I think now, okay, you're an adult, at some point there will be a crossroads, you're gonna make a bad decision, you're gonna make the wrong decision. But if it's conscious and you know this decision gets me there and this one gets me there, I think econ will teach you that. Whereas at this point where there's nothing teaching you that, you just winging it. You just cranking kids out and hoping you either gonna make the right decision or you don't. But you gonna fall off, no matter what. So I think a large part of it would be the way I envision it being taught is the way I taught my own self. And I think I gotta say that out loud, because if somebody else was to be like, damn, econ really that lit, and then he went and read a book about it, they'd be like, oh, this nigga was lying. But if somebody can reword the information to where you talk to who you are trying to teach. I think some of my most successful teachers, they didn't teach me, they talked to me. They explained things to us and it resonated. I wasn't felt I was being talked at. The information was connected and it made sense with examples. I think I took that and I taught my own self, and so I feel like the way my brain received it, if other people receive those same things that way, everybody would be like, oh, this shit is life. If you wanted to be a drug dealer, economics would teach you how to be a drug dealer. And it's fucked up, but it's true. If you wanted to be the governor of whatever, the president. Yeah, you feel me? Like, literally, that's crazy. Literally,
went to community college.
He was sitting there talking about price elasticity, and that is such a true thing, because everybody wants to make money. Well, like how we just talked about, somebody might want to sell. It is, but he was totally right. A drug dealer. He was kicking game to other drug dealers. He was telling them he ran a printer shop, and so they sitting there like, oh, fuck them customers. He like, nah, turn this music up. He looking at him, straight killers. He like, nah, come here. Look, this is a business. This, and he really like teaching killers. Like, y'all gonna learn this. And they learned, bro. They ran a whole printing business off the streets. Like, it was so gangster. But that was genius. You feel me? Like, he broke that down. he didn't talk about it like he read it out of a book. He broke that shit down to some street niggas, and it made perfect sense. He broke down the coke, and it made brilliant sense to them. They was like, damn.
You gotta meet niggas where they at.
Yeah, right. Facts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facts. And he totally did that. Like, he took a really complex economic theory and taught it to some killers. And they immediately grasped and went, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. So we gotta do this. And I think how we just talked about if Nick is a barber. Nick is his own self-sustaining business. That's our dog. Like, we know him from high school. But he runs his, like, you are self-sustaining, self-employed. Now, he is obviously, I'm not saying he doesn't know these things, but he would be the prime example of somebody where learning about price elasticity would be fucking genius. If I'm fully capable of charging my own prices, I do need to be aware of what other niggas is charging so I can know just how much to charge for my own self.
So you basically learn those things kind of second-handedly. You learn those
Facts.
things without knowing. You don't know. He don't know.
Yeah, he don't know.
That he
But he knows what the fucking charge to make that money, though.
He knows how to operate with
Facts.
price elasticity.
Perfect.
We have these conversations.
Exactly.
You feel me?
So that's you gon' receive it. So that's the beauty of it. Like, niggas will understand these principles without even grasping that these are actual things in life. He just know, nigga, I'm about my paper and these make sense and I'm this good, so you're gonna pay me this in the discussion. Period. One day, niggas gonna be charging $5,000 for a haircut. You know, when these celebrities No. Why? Why? Well, if he became a celebrity barber, don't you think they charge $5,000 for haircuts? How much do you think celebrity haircuts is?
500 maybe.
Yeah. And maybe a $1,500. $1,500 was in my head. Yeah, that was crazy.
I better not get another haircut for the next 3 months.
No one can afford that.
A $1,500 haircut is I would bet that's normal for a celebrity haircut. Yeah, definitely not 5,000. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah. But something like that, that alters price elasticity, you feel me? Because now the product is so good, now I can still raise that cost and not be negatively impacted in terms of my sales. So I think on any level, like, you could take economics and do anything. You could braid hair, you could be a teacher, you could be a drug dealer, you could be a firefighter. Like, it teaches you it makes the logistics realistic. It makes, like, okay, these are the actual steps to get there because that's what needs to happen. You know, if you turn silk into, you know where silk comes from? It comes from, like, worms, yeah. It's like the insides of worms. But they take them and kill them and harvest all of that shit, and then at some point it's gonna turn into a shirt. But if you...
The Mongols got rich off of...
For real?
Off of
Silk?
Silk, yeah.
They just had
Hella worms?
That's
crazy.
Man, somebody called people.
For real? No, that's crazy. Where were they selling?
I don't know where they. I think they were just selling them to Europe, like European countries, because they had the finest clothes. So it's like we have the biggest influx of silk.
Silk.
I got the whole worm, wholesale. If you want the whole worm,
the whole worm. It's the mother worm. She gave birth to those 50 million worms. How do worms reproduce like crazy? Because that's a lick.
Smaller organisms reproduce faster than bigger.
Yeah, but if you can just, you got the fucking monopoly on silkworms.
Did y'all ever have like worm farms in elementary school?
I had a ladybug farm and I had a caterpillar. I had like 5 caterpillars. Because y'all had one at the house though, right? Yeah, I had one at school.
I'm talking about school. Show not in the house.
He said I got whooped. I'm like, wait, what? Had that shit in his room, nigga. Man, that's crazy. But I fuck with ladybugs. I used to love playing with ladybugs.
We had silkworms too.
I never had worms.
The earthworms.
Yeah.
Big ass ones.
I've seen worms. I don't think I've ever held a worm in my life. I definitely never had a worm hole.
I gotta take niggas fishing, man.
I never ever been, bro. I had 2 chances to go and my behavior ruined me. Never ever been fishing.
You been fishing before? Yeah. You gotta take this nigga.
Yeah,
take him to Lake Mead so he could catch a body.
See, I wouldn't even mind not catching shit. Just the atmosphere.
Catch a body, man. Boy, shit looking out there right now.
Yeah. See, hey,
Right.
they talk about 5-10 bands for everybody reporting. Now I'm like, right, there's how do it. Shit, we finna pull his ass up today. We need this 10.
The water level that Lake Mead dropped below 1,000 feet. They reported that shit.
Yep.
Like you can see like the water pumps and shit's popping. Like
It's getting
like,
progressively
that's
worse
crazy.
every week.
That is terrible. Less than 1,000 feet. That's crazy. Like we at rock bottom down there, bro.
Remember, I used to tell y'all when I went to the Springs Preserve and I talked to that lady for literally like 2 hours, bro. Seeing that was like in 2018, and all of this shit is coming to fruition. Like that was an off the cuff ass conversation. Facts. Like she knew. Hey, shout out to that lady. She literally knew everything you could imagine knowing about water. And who cares to be that educated? You really gotta have a passion for water. She knew everything. That was dope to me. So I'm just asking her questions because we just talking about Blackstone. At that point, I had just heard of something called water rights. And water rights is literally buying the rights to X amount of water. The reason that our water crisis is so bad is because the water rights that we were assigned was like in 1940 or 50, where our population was way less niggas, it was way more water, and we split that water with like our neighbor countries. So the amount of water everybody gets, there's certain tunnels that lead to all the major waters in our neighbor states.
Right.
So our water rights never got redesigned.
Right.
We
just had
still-
to borrow water from
Yeah.
like, the Mississippi.
And the problem is because we never got allotted more water for an increase in population.
Right. It was
And so,
still growing.
yeah, and that's when they decided to try to really recycle water, where the water that's used inside is recycled. The water that's used outside is gone. The most water used is for lawns. Watering plants is where almost all water goes, and it is unsalvageable.
I was about to
The
say,
water
that's why
inside
they
can be
got all the
reused.
rules about water
Yep.
on this day, or
Yep.
you can't water before or after this
Mhm.
time. You can't water on Sundays and all in
Yep.
Vegas type of shit.
And so she breaking all that shit down, and I'm like, so the whole world pretty much knows that we're operating outdated and just don't care. But they care when California get a drought. Now all attention got to go to California. We're gonna figure out what we're gonna do with them. But what happens where all of these other neighbor states are also being hit? If Cali got a drought, how many other people do you think are in a drought? That's California. You feel me? Like I feel like they aren't thinking logically about that. Like if Cali hit, everybody mathematically is going to be hit. So she brought up this term called water distress. She said that, so when I was telling her about the water rights issue, I'm like I just heard about that as an investment opportunity. What is that? So she break it down like desalination, where they trying to clean ocean water and make it accessible. But that's a problem because you could kill a lot of marine life. You could kill yourself. You could cause a fire because the equipment.
Because when we care about that shit though, like I hear what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, but in mass, if you kill all the sharks, you feel me? Like, what are sharks used for? There's like gum, like elephant tusk. You know, like radiation. Like it could be anything. And you killing hella fish, you could kill hella lobster. Now the lobster industry going. You feel me? Like it could be anything. But yeah, so I'm asking her hella questions about like why all of this stuff operate like that. And she was like, I was like what? I asked her, I think like what year did she think we'll run out of water? And she was like, we'll never run out of water. I'm like, what you mean? Like,
right, so what we talking about? Right.
She brought down, she's like she didn't say this to me, but it was like, peasant, listen. Like I was trying to challenge her, like, I've been hearing all this hype about we running out of fucking water, and you telling me we not gonna run out of water? So she brought up how Earth will never run out of water ever. It's clean water becomes more and more harder to access. But
potable water.
Yeah, like it's impossible that Earth runs out of water. So she gave me all these different processes, and she tell me about water distress, and she like, Nevada next, like it's coming. And that didn't seem like it would happen in 4 years. You feel me? That felt like niggas got 15, 25 years to plan for this, and she just jumping the gun. I'm not thinking that she is pinpoint damn near accurate in what she's saying. I'm like, okay, this is just something to look forward to, because at that moment, nobody was talking about Lake Mead running out of water tomorrow. Nobody wasn't talking about that shit.
So we can run out of water. Like the Earth cannot.
Yeah, Earth cannot. We can run out of water. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so that's becoming water distress. And she said like 10 10 of our 50 states are destined to be water distressed at some point. I don't know what number of years she said, but I remember her saying 10 states were in that phase that they could become water distressed. We are there. Right. We're there now. We are already at that state of emergency. Like, we are officially water distressed. And so that shit scares me. Like, you don't think somebody is telling you, hey, life gonna get crazy in a couple of years. You thinking, damn, like that sounds like some apocalyptic shit. Like how we always talk about a real bad financial crisis. If it happened tomorrow, you would probably reflect on all the podcasts that we've talked about it. Like, damn, I didn't think that shit was gonna happen tomorrow though. You feel me? Like we just on the podcast talking about something that could happen way, way, way down the road, eventually, maybe at some point. Who knows? That's how we speak about it. And to see it unfold, it's like this shit got progressively worse every year. Like she was spot on. I think about that all the time. That is so. She probably wouldn't remember that conversation. That.
So it's this potable water that we can run.
Yeah. I never knew how to say that word. I never spell it. But
yeah. Like if you on the streets and you get next to a truck that says non-potable water, like switch lanes,
right.
That shit be splashing everywhere, and that shit is disgusting. A potable water means water that is safe to drink, basically, or safe to drink, bathe with, and shit like that. Safe to use for us. You feel me?
That's so crazy.
As climate change is worse and ozone layers start increasing, the sun feels like it's a lot closer. People are going to start, cancer rates are going to go up.
Right.
People are going to start passing out of nowhere.
Yeah. That's what's going on. Shit. Where we at on time, by the way?
127.
Okay, cool.
130 actually.
Alright, we said we was getting into bullshit, but we somehow, our smart ass, then kept going on the smart shit. So let's really get into some bullshit now. Unless I had something else to add to that.
Nah, I did good.
I'm ready for the bullshit.
Y'all ready for the bullshit, man? Shit, which I want to start with Freddie Gibbs.
Freddie Gibbs.
You want to start with Freddie?
Yeah, we start with him.
Alright, you want to get a story or you want to?
You go ahead.
This shit from what I know, so he apparently he's been beefing online with Benny the Butcher. You feel me? He went to his hometown, Benny the Butcher's hometown of Buffalo, New York, to do a show. Went to eat before the show. Apparently they went to eat at a restaurant that was right across the street from the venue that he was performing at. I don't even know if he got to eat before he got the beats, you feel me? They was putting hands on him. They was about 20 people deep, put hands on him, lumped him up crazy, you feel me? And he still performed this shit. Oh, for sure. There's a picture of him on stage performing and the matter with his face all.
Yeah, I saw the video. I didn't see that picture on the stage.
Yeah, y'all can give y'all takes on that while I find the picture.
Yeah, I mean, politics.
Right.
Politics, economics. All the ties together. I didn't really look too much into it because it's just like I'm kind of sick of the antics, especially with Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah, right.
Frederick, please just sit down. Like, please, you don't have to be talking all the time. You don't have to. It's just at some point you got to look at the bigger picture, and your pride has to. You have to push your pride to the side.
Right.
I mean, I don't know him personally, so I don't know where his pride is on his level of priorities. Like, pride may be the one thing, his top priority, but I don't know. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be. I don't get why. I do, but at the same time, I don't get why some dudes get to a certain.
Ooh! Woohoo!
Oh yeah, they turned him Asian.
Got the puffy face, yeah.
My reaction like that is only because. Oh, I'll say that until when you're done.
I'm done.
You sure?
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it.
I watched academics talk about it,
man.
and so now you gotta take his version of events with a grain of salt because he obviously hates Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that he would lie, but I'm not gonna take everything that come out of that mouth about him as 100% true. But the way he talked about Freddie Gibbs was like he got mauled. I'm thinking he's speaking in hyperbole because the video I saw, you do see him kind of get like picked up and like slammed into a wall, and then but you don't really see like nobody punching him in the face. Like I never saw like a direct punch to the face, but you definitely see.
I just saw camera footage from like across the
street. Across the street at the
it was
window
just
at the
like-
door.
It was just like a horde of people.
Yeah, I saw the
And
camera,
just,
the little arrow pointed at Freddie Gibbs,
Yeah.
like he's here, and then it said like Benny the Butcher's crew or something like that, and then you
was
just
was
see.
it confirmed that it was his crew, or is it?
I
just
don't
like
know.
somebody
That's
that
not.
Buffalo
It's
did?
not confirmed.
That's why I say you can't believe everything Axe say.
It's currently at the time of that. It's still currently it's overseas on tour. So
Yeah, but at the same time, like when you hold that much weight in your city, it's
yeah,
like
well, you know, we know.
Yeah.
You
it's
feel,
like
it can't
oh,
be
that's
confirmed.
Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah.
Like
We don't know
It can't be legally confirmed. You feel
Yeah,
me?
yeah. We
But
wink,
know.
wink, nudge, nudge,
But
right?
we know, right?
But yeah, so that's why I'm thinking Act putting 20 on 10, but seeing that picture is like maybe Act like got an accurate version of events. Like it looked like every punch, everything Act said, it looked like that actually happened. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, got lumped up.
Man.
That's what happened.
I rock with Freddie Gibbs, but like,
Yeah, I fuck with his music. I
dog.
fuck with his music. I
Yeah.
thought that was a great album. I still bump that motherfucker. Freddie Gibbs make great music, but my own thing is like if you talking reckless and you standing on that, like you gotta move correctly. You
Yeah.
feel me? Like you gotta move correctly. You can't be by yourself. It's him, you, your girlfriend, and they said maybe like one or two other people type shit. But
They say his girlfriend regularly uses the N-word. Well, this is what Act said.
she not black.
She white. Act said, Act said, you wanna know how they spotted Freddie Gibbs at the restaurant? He said, somebody got the call that it was two big bald-headed motherfuckers. Apparently, his girlfriend is bald. She a bald-head porn star. And so Act said it. The way he said that shit just was so funny. He was like, you wanna know how they found out? It was two big bald-headed motherfuckers. They saw them and immediately knew one of them was Freddie Gibbs. Act's so funny. But yeah, so apparently it's a white bald-headed girl and she is a free N-word user. That's what he said. He said she freely uses it on social media. So he was like, he said, Freddie Gibbs, you would be the type of nigga to be with a white girl that's always using the N-word. That's crazy. I don't know if that's true. That's what Act said.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like you said, I don't got too much to say on it. You just move carefully. My
Yeah.
nigga, I'm glad it was fisticuffs and no extra
Facts.
shit. You feel me? But we'll be thankful about that. Sometimes you gotta take your liquor and keep it moving. You feel me?
How many ass whoopings you need though? You feel me? Like I understand pride, but there's a sense of common sense.
If you don't
You
give
feel
a
me?
fuck, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
You feel
but
me?
that's just like what you just said. You feel me? We lucky it didn't go where it could have gone. Or the nigga don't give a fuck, and you keep getting the receiving end of bad things. At some point, somebody gonna feel like enough is enough, and they gonna try your ass in that extreme way that you don't give a fuck about. And then we gonna be talking about R.I.P. blank. You know, I'm not gonna say who it could be or couldn't be, but that's the point. I don't want to. You feel me? Some niggas need to be able to, like you said, take that licking.
Right.
Humble yourself, nigga.
And this whole thing is like, it's all bullshit. Like, the whole beef stems from bullshit. It wasn't even, I don't even think, did he just call out New York rappers?
I don't know. I never heard
It
them even
started
having an
from Jim
altercation.
Jones.
Wasn't they cool?
Him and
It's not
Jim
from Jim
Jones,
Jones,
they
but-
made music together, but
Okay, that's what I was about to say. I
It
thought
became
it was
a back and
cool.
forth on social media. I
Yeah.
forget exactly how it started, but
Mm.
but yeah, he just I don't know if it's with all of New York, but definitely Jim Jones.
I remember he
Yeah,
said
I remember
something
that.
about New York rappers and how, like,
Yeah.
he pretty much shot at them.
And New York, no matter who you are, if you're a
Griselda caught
musical
straight
artist,
from him, and he was
you're a
like,
musical artist. New York is a hub for you. Like
Yeah.
I don't care who, like you have to go to New York if you do music. You feel me?
Facts.
So why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Why would you self-sabotage yourself? Like,
Speaking of self-sabotage, do you know who Ralphie the Plug is? I know you know.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of him? He
I
Draco
listened-
Draco
I
with
listened- I
Draco the
listened to
Ruler.
him the whole way here.
Ralphie is his younger brother. Now, the biggest platform to ever post so their group was called they little clique was called the Stink Team. The only people that I regularly saw post their music, do interviews with them, do any type of vlogs with them was No Jumper. Ralphie the Plug, Draco little brother, jumping out the window. He starts spazzing on no jumper. This a couple days ago. He's spazzing on them, talking about they don't show no support, they not rocking with him, this, that, and the third. So the same way you just brought up self-sabotage, I'm thinking about that with Ralphie the Plug, because I'm like, dog, they are your only connection to going viral on Instagram. Ralphie the Plug make fire music, but don't know outlets really cover them because they got a lot of beef in it. And his brother got killed behind that very beef. They got a lot of beef in their city. So to see Adam that been in their hoods doing vlogs with them, been shopping at the jewelry store with them, did the most with them, and for him to come out and basically sever that tie with his one lifeline, I'm like, Ralphie, why?
It's been squashed. He'll be on the platform soon.
Oh, they did squash it. I saw Adam. He did a vlog yesterday where he was calling him stupid, called him a drug addict.
Guess who squashed it?
Let me think.
You're not gonna guess it, but guess.
It wasn't Blasey or House phone or them because they didn't think about that.
You're not gonna guess this.
Who?
Sean Kingston.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Hey, shout out Sean Kingston. He was at that Lovers and Friends concert, and Sean Kingston still gets love. That was shocking to see a crowd, 10,000 people go, oh my god. Yeah, but you just wouldn't think. You feel me? Like you would think, but you would have thought Beyonce or Drake was up there the way. Right. I rocked with that though. Shout out Sean. That is random. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna actually talk to you about this afterwards. I wasn't even gonna talk about this on the bar, but we already here, so fuck it. But yeah, it got squashed and all of that, and I mean it was misunderstandings on both sides. Like he wanted them to promote. Adam said he'll do it for free. I ain't even gonna charge you. Yeah. So I guess Robbie just thought like you just gonna post my video, but Adam like no, you gotta like send me what you want me to post. But I guess he didn't know that. And so after a few months, and then on top of that, he got I guess they new members of the 6 team. I never heard them until this shit. Yeah. OTM
was that beefing with Rambo?
Yeah, they said they'd be from Rambo or whatever, but they wanted to interview on the platform too. He was gonna have them interviewing with House Phone and Blasey, but they was like, no, fuck that, we want to interview with you. I know disrespect to them, but we want to try to interview with you, so they added on to it and shit too. But yeah, it just got messy, you think, but the dog got squashed, you feel me? Niggas be stepping on their own toes at times, but just a misunderstanding. But so yeah, while we on beef though, y'all seen Lil Wayne and Mark Cuban going back and forth?
They squashed that too.
They squashed that too. Yeah. That shit was just so interesting to me. That was Lil Wayne was just talking recklessly.
Yeah, he should have sat that one out.
Yeah, this is
piss in your mouth.
That's a crazy.
Talking to Mark Cuban like you're not.
And what's crazy is that when the Mavs won that championship, he posted on Twitter that he took a picture with him. He said Mark Cuban is like the greatest owner of all time or something like that. But now it's like, yeah, you look like a weirdo because you was just dick riding him 10 years ago, right. And now you finna piss in his mouth. You feel me? Like, right. Come on, Wayne. He was wrong though. You're like, it's not even who he was challenging. Because if he was right, I'd be like, fuck Mark Cuban. Wayne was right. He was wrong. Like, Wayne, why are you running your mouth? Right. There was no reason for you to run your mouth.
This was a little back and forth. Twitter back and forth.
This was funny jokes.
Escalated this to somewhere it didn't have to be like.
I just don't understand why he did that because now you make yourself look like a dumbass. You feel me? Now Mark Cuban gets the last laugh on multiple levels. He already has more bread than you. He was gonna get the last laugh anyway. But you feel me? But the fact that he went as far as quoting your lyrics, you went as far as even reacting as you did. The fact that you reacted as the way you did is a dub for Mark Cuban. He got you acting an ass. You talking about your pissing a man's mouth on Twitter because he hurt your feelings? Yeah. Like look at you acting like a little kid. You know, like that's another win.
Mark Cuban tweeted your own bars to you. Like that's funny as fuck. Like that's not you cannot take that personal. Like that's funny as fuck. Like you really obviously you really fuck with me because you know my music or whatever. Right. Like how you take that and just completely left. Like, but yeah, he be on his own real stuff. So that's whatever. That's whatever. More beef. I just seen this today. What's going on? Ultimately, I feel like you would know what's going on with Deion Sanders and Nick Saban. You know what's going on with them?
Well, Nick Saban pretty much snitched on like multiple teams. Yeah. He was saying like, because I think he lost a top top prospect, high school prospect to Jackson State. Yeah. And he said like Texas A&M was paying like $1 million for their players. he insinuated that Jackson State was paying for their players, which I don't know if he's completely wrong about that because there are reports
behind it.
Yeah, but
A little bit of truth in it.
he did snitch. Like you know that you're losing some equity in this market, and you're feeling paranoid, so you had to go and throw some dirt on someone else's name, which isn't respectable at all.
And you're Nick Saban, like you're probably the king of the recruitment shit. That's like a drug dealer, like snitching on like a lower level corner boy. Like what are you doing?
Yeah.
I have two perspectives, and I want to hear y'all opinions about it. I'll say that after you. I didn't know if you were talking about it. I was like, I'm glad that you said what you said. On one end, just like you said, look, I mean, he said they paid a nigga named Travis Hunter $1 million. Now, Deion Sanders kept coming out and saying, we ain't paid nobody $1 million. I don't even make $1 million. Travis Hunter said, they paid me $1 million, but my mama still live in a 3-bedroom with 5 kids. Now, my point was, all you niggas keep emphasizing this damn $1 million. Just like you said, look, Nick Saban ain't wrong. Deion, y'all probably didn't pay that nigga $1 million. Y'all paid him. Period. Ain't nobody came out and said we didn't pay him nothing.
No, they say he got like dating, but he got the NIL. He got NIL deals where like they say
but
like $250,000.
That's what I'm thinking. Like I think he got something like that, but he didn't get $1 million. But on the flip side of that, cause I feel like Nick a bitch ass nigga for snitching, but he low key might have. I don't know how advantageous this paying players would be for the small schools now. The reason I say that is because if they gonna make it legal to pay the players, JSU is still light years of a smaller school than an Alabama, a Florida, anybody that got boosters, that got $100 million endowments, they got the budget for, the athletic budget going up every year. When Nick runs his mouth about a small school, it'll look bad because it's like, dog, shut up. You feel me? Let us do us. You Nick Saban, y'all got the top recruiting class every year. You only mad because we took somebody that you was trying to get, which is true. He obviously was being petty and his feelings was hurting. For that reason, he's wrong. But what he came out and said, the sentiment was that us allowing these schools to freely bribe, which is essentially what you're doing. Really, let's say you're persuading, because there's no illegal activity going on now. So I don't want to say bribe like they doing something wrong, but that's what it is. You trying your best to persuade them. Down the road, though, Nick might got a point because JSU or any other HBCU won't have an advantage over in Alabama if we throwing bags around. It's like, yeah, I ran my mouth right now because you stole one of my players that I was trying to recruit. But I'm not really hurt by that because next year, I'm going to just offer a bigger bag to niggas that you can't offer niggas. You say, oh, Deion Sanders don't even make $1 million? Well, nigga, I do. I make $3 million a year. I'm on a 5-year deal. Nigga, we finna offer that next recruit $1 million. Or Georgia gonna offer them niggas $1 million. Notre Dame gonna offer them niggas $1 million. And I think at that point, we gotta, if it becomes a bidding war, then the big schools win again. Because they just gonna go where the bag is. And I feel like I would take Nick's words in the short term and be like, Nick, you a bitch ass nigga. But in the long run, I would be like, he is right. We gotta figure this out because we are just reinventing the problem. If we just finna transfer, it used to be the biggest schools got the most access and the most resources and the most equipment. Well, they've always also had the most money. Now we just made it legal to give niggas money. So like when it was illegal to give niggas money, the players only focused on, oh, they got the best looking field and the best, like LSU. Look at their locker room, look at the gym, look at the field, right? We wasn't focused on look at the bag, look at the endowment that they got because we couldn't legally offer niggas money. But they always had hella money at their disposal. Now you telling me we could freely give these same recruits money? JSU, y'all won this time by taking Travis Hunter. Y'all better make that shit count because every recruit that come after him, we gonna make sure we pay him. We gonna offer him more than you. They might even, because we know how low down it get, they might come up to him and be like, dog, how much did Deion Sanders, or any school, let's use Deion Sanders just because he's there. How much did he offer you? Keep it real. Did he promise you the starting quarterback job? Did they give you $100K, $200K? All right, well, I mean, look, you know this Alabama. I can't guarantee you the starting quarterback job, but I can guarantee you either gonna be 1 or 2, and you're gonna get $300K. How does that sound? And you're gonna be at Bama. You're gonna shine even if you're the backup quarterback. Because backup quarterbacks be getting drafted. So you $300K and a first or second option at a big ass school versus a guaranteed starting job. Half your games ain't gonna be televised. You getting $100K. That niggas is absolutely gonna have deals like that in the coming years where it's really like, man, we gonna do everything in our power to go an inch past what you're capable of doing. Because you wanted to, you went all out on Travis Hunter, we gonna make you regret it moving forward. And I think that's a problem that people should look at. Because right now we only focused on players getting paid. And that's great. We should, because we're breaking ground. But the schools are going to get the power again if they just decide to go to those big ass schools still. You know, like they don't lose. You know, so I think there are two sides to this that we should really look at.
I agree with that. This shit could get ugly. Like, I just don't understand why you was shining a light on.
Hater.
On something like, again, something that you participate in and probably are the biggest, you feel me, proponent of, you feel me? Like, I just don't understand that. But who knows, man? He got obviously he feeling salty. Obviously, losing that recruit cut him deep. You feel me? Like,
and that's uncharacteristic of him too. Like,
right.
He doesn't really do shit like that. Like Nick Saban, you see it in all of his players. When they go to the NFL, it's like all business. Look at all their press conferences. They're not about any of the bullshit. It's like, I'm here to play football. I'm here about the business. I'm a team guy. All that shit.
Facts.
This was super uncharacteristic. So that he's feeling the ego got hit a little bit.
Imagine if one of those types of conversations I just said, imagine if that's what happened. Imagine if they probably was really in talks with Travis Hunter and was like, okay, what position do he play?
I think he's a receiver.
Okay. So imagine if they telling him, because he's a top receiver, he's like the top 8, like number 1 in the class.
Yeah,
so,
number 1.
Yeah, so you already know, like we can pretty much assume every single person who is number 1 in their class has Alabama in their 3 finalist schools that they're picking from.
Right.
Most likely, especially if you from the South. You got Auburn in there, you got LSU in there, you damn sure got Bama in there. You might got Georgia, you feel me? You might got a Florida State type shit.
There's no way you can love the game of football and not consider those.
Right. So imagine if Nick Saban might have had those conversations with a Travis Hunter where he's like, all right, we got a legit shot of landing Travis Hunter. And he feel like they didn't offer him whatever they could offer him, and Travis might have communicated that he leaning toward taking the bag. Like, he a corner? Yeah. So imagine him telling Nick Saban, I'm leaning toward signing with Alabama. I'm not committed. I ain't going to state that. But I'm leaning. I'm heavily considering. Let's say he gave him some words like that. I'm heavily considering. And then 4 days later, he like, oh, no, I'm going to sign with JSU. He probably either A, didn't even tell Nick he was finna sign elsewhere, or he did tell him, and then that's how Nick was still just offended by it and hurt. But just like you said, the fact that was uncharacteristic of him, and just like Darius said, nigga, you play this game. You play this game better than anybody, and you've been doing it for years. And that's uncharacteristic of you. So merging those two facts together leads me to believe something hurt your feelings. Well, what would hurt your feelings?
So, this is all emotions.
Yeah. So when I ask, like, what would hurt your feelings? Well, somebody told you something and then they reneged on it. That would hurt my feelings, especially when it's money on the line.
That something like that happened though, where somebody may have committed to you and then decommitted.
Nah, but like, that's what make me think. Deep. Yeah, you're right.
Maybe like the rest of your roster not lining up how you imagine or how it usually does. So you was really dependent on him, maybe.
Yeah.
And it could be something to that. It could be, you can miss a lot of underlying shit behind the scenes that you would have to know.
Yeah.
But it could be something like that.
Because JSU did get hella pick. Even last year, they got hella top recruits coming to come to their school.
But this is what we wanted though. Like we were making a push for HBCUs to be pushed to the forefront the sports community.
Right.
Like we want to see our athletes going to these HBCUs and them getting shine and money going into those schools, going back to our education talk. We want to see money going into these schools. Like we mad that these top recruits are starting to pick HBCUs over the powerhouses, dynasties.
Right.
You can't get mad at it.
Yeah.
Thank God there's Deion Sanders who could pull those strings and make something like that happen. Who got the pull and the name, the clout to make something like that happen. Thank God for Deion Sanders, man. Salute that man. Whatever he doing to get him over there, he playing the game.
Fact, right.
As soon as the black man as soon as the black man get the answer or learn some shit about the game, now you playing now all of a sudden you playing the victim. Now I'm getting mad because now I'm thinking about other shit outside of football.
Yeah.
Now you now you playing the victim. Now that niggas can learn some shit.
Yeah, I ain't rocking with Nick Saban for that, but
yeah,
I think he I wonder how the HBCUs play that moving forward though, because now they're gonna have to compete with the bag. And Deion Sanders talked about how they was operating at like a loss or something, something like that. Yeah. So if that's gonna be the case for most HBCUs, you feel me? And that's assuming people even want to go there. Like they have to want to go there, and then you have to make it sweet for them. Because as long as if they don't want to go there, then you got to make it even more sweet. And then if they do want to go there and you make it kind of sweet, well, how bad do you want to go there? Because they got a bigger bag, it can make it even more sweeter.
To that point, though, this is how you get that ball rolling. You bring a name like that to your school, now you get more eyes, you get more TV time, you get more whatever, you feel me? And he goes to the NFL, now he a booster for your school, you got more money from your school because you got alumni who are in the NFL. It's a snowball effect, you feel me? The money will come when people start coming, it'll only get better and better. And outside of that, you got other shit they go on HBCUs that you feel me we don't need to speak on that you feel me that's enticing, you feel me, you're gonna want to come here. I went to an HBCU, you're gonna want to go there, you feel me, that's where you want to go. You no longer have to go to Alabama and fuck with Mary Lou or whoever. Like no, you come to this HBCU and you feel me, you ball out for us,
you will meet Beyonce.
Listen, facts though while you playing.
Hey, Darius met his wife at that school, still to this day.
Shout out to her, man.
Yeah. That's gonna be your wife one day.
Shout out to her.
So he was actually the #1 cornerback and receiver recruit.
Yeah. That might be why he could have been used anywhere.
That's probably why he's feeling a certain way. It's like this is probably one of the greatest.
Cornerback, you say he a cornerback and a receiver?
Yeah. Wow. Like they're gonna use him as a two-way player.
Wow. Shout out to him. Shit. Like, that's your thing, man. You the best. Do your shit, man. Don't get caught up in this bullshit. Let the coaches be the coaches. Let the schools be the schools. Do your shit. Stay focused on the game, man. Stay focused on the game. Get your money in, man.
It's crazy. These are high schoolers. These are kids, and they having six-figure conversations and beef about them. Like
back to the smart people, dog. Niggas needing to know about economics and money and shit.
Economics,
yeah, you an 18-year-old, yeah.
Politics and economics. I don't know. You feel me? Especially going into shit like that for real.
That's why, I showed. Remember when we were watching the challenge, or I had the challenge on before? Yeah. That's the shit I like about the show. Like the actual challenges, like the jumping off of buildings and shit. That's one thing. That's like just an adrenaline rush. But they really have to like go back to the house and politics.
Yeah,
like who do I gotta sleep with tonight to get me to the next episode?
Right.
Like who do I gotta break a deal with?
That is crazy.
Crazy.
Me. What you need?
Yeah. Like who do I gotta not vote for this week?
Right. Toss to the captain next week.
Yep.
Hey, Tosh.
That's interesting. I got anything else? I got like one more thing, but I'll let y'all get y'all shit off.
Did y'all listen to any of the Kendrick album?
Oh yeah, we discussed that last week. But yeah, go ahead, get your take on it. We talked about it.
Yeah, we did.
Okay,
He just wasn't with us.
Oh yeah, get your take.
I liked it a lot. It took a while for me to get through.
And it's been growing on me too.
Yeah.
Even more. I loved it the first time, but it's been growing on me still.
And I think, like, I was sick, so like I was already in this dark mindset. I think that was like the perfect time for me to listen to that album. Because like that's the same kind of tone of the album. He went through a lot of shit. My favorite songs, when I first heard the We Cry Together song,
I love that song, yeah, facts.
that shit was some baby boy shit. Some baby boy shit.
I'm gonna listen to it. I decided 100%. This week was moving on.
The Silent Hill song, Purple Hearts. Yeah, he had a lot of good tracks on there. I heard the sales aren't looking as bright as they were supposed to. I see he's about to sell like 286 first.
Yeah, that's what Axe said.
I didn't see that. I saw something he had maybe the most streams on the first day or on the release day or something like that. I seen something like that. But yeah, I don't know. Shit, yeah. 286, still 286.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm not a big like first week sales guy. Like, let's see how many sales it gets.
It's about longevity. I'm listening to this for years. You feel me? Versus something that you just it's hot because of your name or whatever, and niggas never listen to it again. Like, you still lost in the end.
Yeah.
You still lose in the end.
Where do you rank it like among all of his projects?
Oh, that's tough. It's up there though. That's tough. No, it's top 3.
Top 3?
It's top 3 for me for sure. I think, and it could even move up for me. I don't know yet. I always admit my biases. You feel me? Like, I love Good Kid, Mad City just because that was the one that was like, you feel me? Even I fuck with Section 82, but Good Kid, Mad City was like the one, and that's shit like embedded in the nigga. So like that's always gonna be up there. It was Butterfly Cold, Damn Cold. Like, I fuck with Damn, man. So it's up there. I'll say it's top 3 for sure, man.
It definitely made me appreciate Damn better because I didn't really love Damn the first time I heard it.
Oh, it Damn hard.
But
Damn
this was kind of the same tone. It had like a lot of different elements of all the albums.
Yeah.
Which I kind of feel like Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole, they're at that point of their career where it's like, I have such a large fan base that I kind of gotta cater to each one.
Right.
That's probably not the best word, but I have so much music that I have so many different sounds I can use to make this project.
Right.
And you're gonna get a little bit of each of that, but it had a lot of Damn in it, like a lot of the weird sounds and him using his monotone voice.
Yeah.
And some of the Baby Keem stuff too, which I'm not really too fond of.
Did I hear about those Baby Keem's reference tracks? Really?
What about it?
They said pretty much whatever poppin' Baby Keem song you can name, Kendrick Lamar wrote, and the reference tracks leaked on YouTube like last week.
I'm not surprised by that. Like, that's his little cousin for one.
Yeah,
I'm pro nepotism.
Signing him to
They
the
was-
label.
yeah.
Put him on.
Facts.
Yeah,
That's the
I'm
thing.
get around
They
the
was-
bush, get to it.
Facts.
Put him on.
I'm with that too, but
Fuck that.
that's what people was mad about with Baby Keem.
So
Baby
niggas not calling him the GOAT or nothing. Fuck all that,
True,
bro.
true.
You can get
Yeah.
If I could write if I could write any song, if I could just write a song and pass it out to get my niggas out the hood, nigga, I'm writing songs. I don't give a fuck what y'all think about it. Like, y'all can think whatever the fuck y'all want to think about Baby Keem, nigga. He living better than all y'all, nigga.
That's true.
Kendrick had a bar on one of the songs in the album talking about how Baby King bought like 4 or 5 whips when he got his check, but I guess that running the family got something like that. You gotta learn and shit like that. Like, yeah, I put my little cousin on. He eating, nigga. Fuck what y'all talking about?
Yeah.
Like, you saying what though?
Yeah. So, I don't know what specifically I was bringing up. It was just
Like niggas was getting on them.
like niggas was getting them. Yeah. Okay. So they said he lied about how he got on the Black Panther soundtrack, and it is because he's Kendrick's cousin. But he said that he wasn't Kendrick's cousin, and then he came up with some elaborate story of sending somebody some song, but the song that he sent them was Kendrick Lamar's song that he just rapped on, and so he.
And can I say something to that?
Yeah.
I don't think that's his. I don't think that's only his doing. Like you're moving with the whole.
Oh yeah,
whole
he not
line.
doing that
Niggas
by
just telling
himself. Yeah.
Niggas you're not coming up with, you're not jumping out the window on your own, especially in that
Facts.
camp. I'm still saying TDE camp, but because Kendrick comes from that, but you the first artist Kendrick signed to his own label,
Yeah,
PG
yeah.
shit. So
You gonna make it.
niggas is telling you basically how to move. Like you said, if I'm writing for you, I'm telling you how to move. You're not
Right.
just coming in the industry, especially under my umbrella, and just moving how you want to move, saying what you want to say. Like maybe that was the mastermind plan behind it. Like they didn't expect it to come out or whatever, but. Yeah, we want you to come in the game. We don't want you to come in the game being Kendrick Will cousin. We want you to come in the game as Baby King, so you tell the story, whatever, however you tell it. Like I don't think that was just his doing. Like I don't think he himself tried to jip the world into thinking.
Yeah, that's too intricate for a one man doing. That's layers of cooperation.
Did that make you feel the way?
I'm not in tune. I mean, I like Baby King.
Yeah,
every song I ever heard, I like him. Like I don't look at him as the GOAT for me to feel like that mattered. I just thought it was. I'm not a Kendrick fan anyway, but at least seeing the origin of certain hit songs, it was cool to see how they came about, how they initially sounded and shit like that. But it didn't make me like, oh, this nigga Baby King for now, he doing something wrong. I was like,
his most popular songs, like You and Listening Wise, are songs with Kendrick Lamar where they go like back and forth type shit. So I really don't doubt it. Like,
I don't know all the songs, but it was like maybe 3 or 4 of them that I saw. But in the article that I read that led me to the YouTube, they were saying it was some of his biggest songs. I'm not familiar
biggest
to
songs
know.
are with Kendrick.
Oh, that isn't? So
I imagine Kendrick wrote the whole song.
For that one song
for the
they
song
got together.
Yeah, I forget which one because they dropped 2 back to back. But yeah, that's what I imagine Kendrick wrote the whole song.
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
you say this part, this gonna be your part, this is my part.
Right.
You feel me? Because it flow, even them songs, they flow together so seamlessly. There's no way this nigga is this nice that he keeping up with Kendrick, keeping up with Kendrick like this. Not you just on the song with Kendrick because you your cousin. Like you're keeping up with him. Like you're rapping with Kendrick. Like so, yeah, that's not unbelievable that Kendrick wrote that shit.
And we are speaking from a fan's point of view, but like if I was an upcoming rapper and I heard about that, like this happens anywhere in society with nepotism. Like if you see somebody get that type of look and you like dedicated your life to get this good at rapping and get these producers, get all these different connections, and you're not even getting close to those type of sales, and you see this dude won a Grammy, like after, well, I don't know how long Baby King has been rapping, but it looks like it's kind of recent.
It's that P word. It's
pretty early. I feel some type of way.
That P word again, bro. It's
What?
all politics.
Oh yeah.
It's all politics. That's all that is. Literally, that's all it is to it.
Yeah.
That's all it is to it, man. But shit, yeah. That's pretty much all I got. Yeah. Straight.
Yeah. Do I want to hit NBA picks real quick or
NBA picks?
Yeah.
Warriors in 5.
Okay.
I low key.
I don't know why I think you're talking about the draft.
Oh, that's what you meant?
No.
You meant the playoffs.
Right.
Oh, okay. I was about to say my fault. I'm tripping like a mother.
No, you're right.
I think Warriors are winning this series in 5. Before the start of this series, I had Warriors in 6 or 7. I think I always tell Atiana this, and it was so crazy because it was evident more so in this playoffs than ever. I kept telling her, it don't matter the seeds. When you face a playoff team, every game needs to be the chance that you send the other team the message. It don't matter what happened. We're better than y'all and we win in this series. And my prime example, I always talk about January 2016, the Warriors went to the Cavs and beat them niggas by 43 points, stomped their heads out. Fast forward to Game 5 in that series. Game 5 was when they put them on their back of, we lost Game 5. But Game 6 was the game that the Cavs told the Warriors this series is over. When they lost Game 6, when you lose Game 5, it's like we didn't have Draymond. LeBron scored 41, but we didn't have our best defender. When your best defender comes back and LeBron gives you 41 again, and then you lose, at that moment, the series is over. So I kept telling her, I'm like, watch how these teams blow the opportunity to prove to teams that they're better. When you see the Nets go against the Celtics, they got swept, but every single game was close. There was never a chance to prove that one team is definitively better than the other. It's just games that you just kind of don't know how to close. Then there are games where you see everybody blowing each other out. The Timberwolves and Grizzlies. Damn near every game was a blowout.
And then was getting thrown out.
But then the last blowout is, okay, y'all know you're not going to win this series, right? Grizzlies go against the Warriors. Y'all cool, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Y'all win that game. Okay. Congrats. Y'all win that game. Draymond said it when they won their first game in that series. He said, y'all not playing the Timberwolves no more. He said, this is the Warriors. This is championship basketball. And he was right. What used to happen, even if you beat us this game, y'all won game 1. Okay. We won game 2. And game 2 was the game we proved no matter what, you're going to lose. And John Morant had 48 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, and they got their ass stomped out. And that was when they knew we won't win this series. Now, John Morant happened to get hurt, and that altered how early that series was. It might have won 7, so who knows? But I think yesterday, it was over. The Mavs are up 14 at halftime. You go up 17 at the start of the third, and then you have this epic collapse, and you lose by, they lost by 9, but they were down by double digits in the fourth. And Luka had 42 points, yeah. 42, 8 and 7 or something like that.
That's why I say it's gonna be. 42. That's why I say it's gonna be a sweep. That was their game to win.
That was the game.
I said for the first time, that was game 1.
Yeah,
they dropped it.
It was like Luka got 42, Jalen Brunson had like
paper,
32.
On paper, it looked like they played well.
Like what the fuck?
Holy shit!
3-14. Yeah.
But what it is, because on paper it looks like they played great, but what it was is all of that happened. Most of that happened in the first half.
Yep.
Most of
Luka had 28 in the first half and 14. He would have had 14 in the second half to finish with 42.
Had double digits in the first quarter. You feel me? Like all of that happened early on. You feel me? Second half it was all Warriors.
Yep. And so I think like when you look at it like that, you got to go back to that locker room and go. Luka played perfectly. Jalen Brunson, no bum, no slouch, but 31. Okay. We're not going to expect fucking Al Horford had 30 the other game. Al Horford ain't scored 30 points all season combined and had 30 points in a playoff game. And that mattered. Jalen Brunson is in that realm where he's just playing out of his mind right now. But that's the thing. Your star player played perfectly. Your bench is playing out of its mind. Your role players are doing good. Your coach is coaching. And you lose bad in terms of a collapse. You didn't get blew out, but you had an epic collapse. You up against a championship opponent by double digits in their home court, and you go down double digits in a quarter. Like, that game was the game that proved we can't beat the Warriors. And I think nothing else matters the rest of the series. I could see a sweep. I'm still willing to give the Mavs a road game. I see them a desperation game for teams always go out like, yeah, we can't get swept. Sometimes they do. But I think I'm willing to give Luka another 45-point game, and that might be the one that they steal. But I think yesterday, you lose that game, the Warriors proved to them, hey, all that shit y'all been doing this playoff, it was cool.
No, we loved it. We
loved it.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. Like it's no hate.
On being able to play me.
Yeah, one of the top 4 finalists of the league. You do get credit for that.
Love what you're doing.
But what J. Cole say, we know all good things must come to an end. And we know each other way too well to pretend. And that is very true. Y'all know y'all not beating us. Because it is. You feel me? Like when Draymond fouled out in 28 minutes. Imagine he finished that game. Y'all gonna get your ass beat. And I think when we start, Klay Thompson didn't shoot that high. Like when you start factoring in Steph had 22? Steph didn't have 30. Nobody on the Warriors had 30. And the Mavs had 2 niggas with 30. Our best defender fouled out. Your whole team is playing fully healthy, and you epically collapse and lose. I think at that moment.
With all that being said, I still think the East got something to say. I think whichever team come out the East gonna have something to say.
I got Warriors in 6 in the championship.
That's still something to say in my opinion. That's the Warriors, nigga. You get 2 games in the finals.
I feel you for sure. Yeah.
I'm saying they beat them, but that's something to say. I still like Boston. If Boston win, I like Boston still.
Yeah.
I like Boston taking the 7 if not winning. You feel?
Yeah, I think I had the Heat for the whole time up until now. It looks like they don't have enough firepower.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna say that. They didn't have Kyle Lowry or PJ Tucker in that last game. You feel me? It's definitely not over. And they beating Boston ass right now.
Boston don't got Robert Williams.
No, he back.
He played today? They said he was out today.
Oh, he was out today?
Yeah.
I thought you were still talking about from the prior.
Yeah, no, they said he wasn't playing today.
Yeah, I don't know then in that case.
I just like I like how now we're being proven that super teams aren't sustainable. Like, if you make a super team, you better win a championship in that window.
Yeah.
Because the thing people don't talk about with super teams is you give up so much depth just to have like 3 superstar players.
Yeah.
So one of them goes down, and all that depth there's a void.
Yeah.
And one player might have a great night on your bench, and that's it. But that's not sustainable. Like, it's about chemistry, and you can have like 1 or 2 superstars, but like it comes down to chemistry. It comes down to just playing good basketball, really.
Yeah. No, that's true. I am glad to see the super team era not end, but because I don't think it's dead, but it is ending. Like, it is actively dying.
All the super teams windows are.
Yeah. Everybody's window is drastically. And I would even go as far as to say that the window has closed. The reason being, super teams can still exist, but they're cash strapped. So you might be a super team, but that window of opportunity for that chip closed because, like you said, you've depleted yourself. Yeah. So you can still exist as a super team just by having 3 super talented ass niggas on the same team. That don't mean you a championship team, though, because them 2 niggas over there with a whole 1 through 15 loaded.
I hear y'all point, but let me offer something else. And I don't want y'all to argue me down if I'm wrong, but I look at it. I don't think these super teams are so super no more. Like, I don't think the gap is that big no more where you can just have those 3 superstars and that's enough. I don't think the gap between players is that big anymore. I think there's a lot of great players in the league now.
I agree with
so
that.
There's less super. That S on that super ain't capital no more. You feel me?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I'd go as far as to say LeBron and Kyrie proved that. They weren't the traditional big 3 super team. Like, Kevin Love was Kevin Love, but he averaged 8 points. There is nothing super about that. We get caught up in the names, and that's why we be like, oh, Bron played with all these niggas. Yeah. Nigga, you got to the finals and put up 8. Don't tell me we was on a super team together. No, we wasn't. No, me and Kyrie was getting busy.
That just mean you folded in that game or in that series with Kevin Love going into that. I agree with you, but I'm saying going prior to that
the season.
Yeah, Kevin Love
he was part of the big 3. But I know because here's where the logic gets skewed. We never say that Giannis had a big 3. Why? Why can we say LeBron played with a big 3 when his 3rd best player was Kevin Love, but you won't tell me Giannis played on a big 3 when his 3rd best player was Drew Holiday?
They the ones who called it that though. Like, y'all said y'all was a super. Y'all called yourself the big 3. Y'all was a super team. Like,
yeah, but we know that the league usually dons the super team. Nobody called the Nets a super team. We knew, damn, niggas got James Harden. That's the new super team. We didn't. That didn't need to be called. It was obvious. That's like saying your hat's red. I don't need to say that for that to be true. You feel me? You know that hat red, dude. Like, you know that was a super team. That's what I mean by that. I think that I'm losing my point.
Well, you were saying before I interrupted.
Oh, Giannis, yeah. Chris Middleton got to the finals and averaged 25, 6, and 5 in the finals, just like Kyrie Irving did. So let's say Giannis and LeBron is a check, Chris Middleton and Kyrie is a check. Well, your 3rd best player, Kevin Love, who averaged 8, or Drew Holiday, who averaged 20 points, 6 rebounds, I don't know how many assists, was the best.
Oh, in that series, you saying?
He averaged 8. I don't know. He might have averaged 10 in the whole playoffs, but in the finals, he averaged 8.
Okay.
In the finals specifically, Chris Middleton averaged 25, 6, and 5. Drew Holiday was averaging 20 with like 3 steals, 6 or 7 rebounds, maybe 4 or 5 assists. I forgot his stat line specifically, but that's my thing. The names we call, Chris Bosh never averaged 15 a game for the Heat. But we will always say that was a super team because the name Chris Bosh before he got to the Heat. But why don't we feel like the Bucks were a super team when you got 3 niggas averaging 20 plus on this team? That is the definition of a super team. It's just like with MJ. We don't say MJ had a super team. Why? They had the 2 best offensive players in the league on the same team. The two best defensive players, the three best defenders in the league were on the same team. The best rebounder in the league was on that team. The three best shooters in the league. Craig Hodges was the very first nigga to win 3 straight three-point contests. He was like a 45% three-point shooter, and they had Steve Kerr. You had the best nigga. Steve Kerr shot 45% from the three. In the league, they didn't even shoot threes. Don't tell me he didn't have a super team. Look at what he had. The best offensive players, the best defensive players, the best rebounders, the best shooters were on the same exact team for 6 consecutive years. That's a super team. In the aspect where everybody else is a one-man band. The Suns got to the finals in, 93? Tell me the second best player on Charles Barkley's team. And how many points did he average? He didn't average 20. They had one guy average 20. Tell me the Jazz that he faced in back-to-back years in the finals. They had one guy average 20. The 98 finals, the second best scorer on that team was Jeff Hornacek. Who the fuck is that? He averaged 11 points.
Don't do Jeff like that, nigga.
Darius, who the fuck is Jeff Hornacek when it comes to super team? Think about it. No, but let's be real. Because when you got John Stockton, who is John Stockton, he got to the finals and averaged single digits in every category in the finals. MJ's fully loaded team faced that team in the finals. Of course, they beat the shit out of them. Your point guard averaged single digit everything. Now, if LeBron James went to the finals and faced a team whose second best player averaged single digit everything and they only had one guy averaging 20, you don't think he'd win? You know what I'm saying? Like, but we don't say that they had a super team because we get caught up in the names. I feel like the performance justifies the super team. Look at the team you got. We have the best at everything.
You say that in hindsight after performance. Going into the game, like with your example with the Miami Heat, regardless of how much Chris Bosh averages, we still know that's Chris Bosh. So we have to game plan for an additional player, regardless of how he's going to perform.
True.
So
that's very true.
That's what a super team does. It's like, regardless of how they actually perform, that's at the back of our mind. Like, if we sag off of Chris Bosh, he's going to get off.
That's true.
We have an extra level of anxiety.
But I could use that and still plug that right back into Giannis and why we're not calling that a super team. Everybody knows Chris Middleton is the closer. He's the better, I don't want to say he's the better scorer. He's a more free scorer. Like, if everybody's going to look at Giannis, we know we can get a ball to Chris Middleton. He going to score from over there, over there, over there. He going to make them free throws. When it's crunch time, Chris Middleton is their bucket getter. He leads their team in crunch time buckets. So that's my point. Game plan for Chris Middleton. But we won't say, oh, damn, we got a game plan for Chris Middleton. But it's like, why? When he comes out and averages 25 in the finals, and your third best player is averaging 26 and 5 with 3 steals, and he's your best defender in the finals, that's a super team. Because look at what I understand what we got a game plan for, but the flip side of that is the result. I think that's a hand-in-hand story that should be told. Because you're right, that is Chris Bosh, that is Kevin Love, so we know what they're capable of. So we do got a plan for that. But on the flip side, I watched Chris Bosh play in 4 straight finals. Chris Bosh looked like shit in 4 straight finals. Did he have phases where he made a good play? Yeah, sure. Just like Kevin Love clamped Steph Curry in Game 7 on the biggest play in the finals. And nobody really talks about that. He clamped Steph Curry. So yeah, they had spurts. But again, nigga, you got to the finals and averaged 8. You didn't do shit. You feel me? Don't say we was on no super team when me and Kyrie had to go score 40 every fucking game to win. Literally had to go score 40 every game because this nigga won't score 8. You feel me? Giannis played out of his mind in that last game where he had like 50. So that game doesn't count. But he knows I got 2 other niggas that's definitely going to get 20 and hella rebounds and assists. And that nigga going to give me some steals. That's a super team. Right? We can't say other niggas is a super team, but look at that. That's not. I'm on a super team with a nigga averaging 8. It's 3 niggas over here getting 20 a game. That ain't no super team. So I wouldn't even say that the super team is dead. I think we just we characterize it a little bit different. I think if the Suns were to win a championship, I don't think they would have been a super team. I think they would have been 2 good players that had good role players. But the Bucks with 3 niggas averaging 20, if James Harden was still on the Nets and they had 3 niggas averaging 20, and even if they still lost, that would have been a super team that just lost. So I don't think super teams are really done. I think we are reluctant to call new age super teams. Like, I feel like the Bucks last year were definitely a super team based on production. One nigga averaging 30, 12, and 8. One nigga getting 25, 6, and 7. one nigga getting 26 and 4 with 3 steals. Like, what? And you got role players that can shoot hella good, that also play defense. You had PJ Tucker, one of the best defenders in the league. Yeah, for sure.
And I think my pushback is, I totally 100% agree with your point, but my pushback is more towards, like, I guess the term super team. I think you get that. I don't think you get that term to the Bucks because of how they came together.
How they were assembled.
That's a good point. That would be my only argument, is the assembly of the team. Other than that, everything else you said, I
that's a good point. That's a good point. Because that matters. Yeah, niggas making hella trades versus organic build. I get that.
Right. But
yeah, that's a good point. That's a trump. That would trump my point, because that literally matters. I get that.
Yeah, fact.
I just focus, like, again, the end result. Like a team like this, the Bulls couldn't lose. Like, literally, it's a 100% fact. But we never say MJ had a super team. Even though he made trades, you feel me? They made trades, they signed niggas in free agency. So even then, I would take that and go, okay, even with if we say that the process is what defines the super team, well, they still should have been called a super team, because
MJ and Scotty was homegrown.
Yeah.
Same with the Warriors, homegrown. Steph played homegrown.
But trading Charles Oakley, you signed Dennis Rodman, you signed Steve Kerr, like stuff like that. Like that makes them a super team, because now you create a big three. They didn't draft Dennis Rodman. He was Dennis Rodman, and they went and got him. They knew that he was well established as one of the top defenders and rebounders in the league. He had already led the league in rebounds multiple years, and then they went and grabbed him. That at that point, we have to look at that as a super team. Like, one of those moves, because you're right, Scotty was homegrown, so that I ain't gonna hold that against him. But niggas still made other moves. You still traded some pieces to go get new pieces. They brought in a Tony Kukoc. Nigga, remember, they talk about him in this. They thought Tony Kukoc was going to be one of the best players in the league. So when we talk about game planning and going off niggas' potential, remember that they signed Tony Kukoc because they thought he was going to be 25 a game ass nigga. They signed Ron Harper. Ron Harper was projected to be one of the top guards in the league. He hurt his knee. But they signed Ron Harper thinking that he was going to be one of their top players on their team. So them niggas was trying to build a super team. They did. They did. I think that's crazy how we don't say that. Even the old Lakers and the old Celtics, the whole fucking team is literally Hall of Fame ass niggas. Like, the best players in the league literally played on 2 teams.
Yeah, I get your point that niggas don't say it, but I feel like if you brought that point up to somebody, like, I don't feel like they would disagree with you.
Yeah.
It's just, like you said, they just don't say it, but I don't think they would disagree with you if you made the argument that these are super teams. It's just the fact that they don't call them that is all.
But yeah, if we go back to the 2 superstar shit, I'm for that. Like, if the league can go, because that's different. If it's just 2 superstars and other real established role players, not 3 niggas getting 25 a game, but 2 niggas getting off, and this nigga just serves a real good role. That's different. Yeah. Like, that's why I was saying, like, if the Suns would have did that, even the Warriors, like, I still want to call the Warriors a super team, because it's not fair. These niggas are just that good and that lucky and that good at developing niggas. Like,
that's just a well-run
machine. Yeah, you feel me? Like, they are an anomaly. They are just good.
That's Spurs type.
They just know. Yeah, they just know what to do.
Like they gotta figure it out.
Fuck yeah, they would be the only ones I'd be like, yeah, I see not calling y'all a super team, even though they, fuck, you feel me? Like, look at the Warriors, they are a super team. But
I'm with the Lakers.
That's a good argument you made. I would.
We're a well-ran machine. Like, even if we do have injuries, we don't have as big of a drop off as we did last year.
Yeah, that's how you ideally make a team. That would be the ideal way to.
And that was my whole pushback of us trading all of our young talent for Anthony Davis. It's like,
putting all your eggs in one basket.
Our last homegrown project was Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, and the basket is made of glass. Yeah, it's ugly, man. It's ugly, but.
I didn't even know what he said.
I said we put all our eggs in one basket.
And the basket is made of glass. I was trying not to. Oh wow, damn. Hey, man.
I got anything else? We can close this one out, man. Good?
I'm good.
Alright, man. Y'all know what it is. This has been another rendition Finlit Footsteps podcast, man. We bring the business and the bullshit as we come on
Okay,
today.
I like
you feel
that.
me?
I like that.
So yeah, y'all know what it is, man. Check the YouTube, check the all audio platforms. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. Until next time, man. I'm D Coulson. Big Weez.
No, I'm Elijah.
All right. And,
Yeah.
We out of this thing, man. Shout out to y'all. Just man remote.